Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. Joining me... Oh, I should say my name. My name is Colton Brown. Joining me...
is me.
Episode 300. It's you. Who is it? I don't know who you are.
Andrew Meadows. Hello.
We've only been doing this 300 times or 299 times prior to this. You'd think I'd have a pretty good beat on how that should go. But, it's been a few weeks. We've been doing some homework in preparation for this episode, which is a big one. It's a very, very big episode. It's our third real milestone episode. It's episode 300. We are not covering Zack Snyder's 300, although we
thought about it.
Could still. Although maybe Zack Snyder is going to come up on this episode where we're talking about our 5 favorite directors. Now, I mean, I don't want to spoil my top 5. He could be in there. It's. I mean, if we had recorded this like after 300 came out, maybe I would have said that. I don't know. He's probably not going to crack it at this point in time. But I don't want to fully give away all the secrets and stuff like that. But anyway, enough Zack Snyder talk. It's not how I really actually wanted to begin this. I wanted to say, holy shit, episode 300.
Long time, dude.
Man.
How long have we been doing this? How many years is 300 episodes?
Well, we started this thing about 8 years ago. A little over 8 years ago, we did our first ever episode, Atomic Blonde and your favorite movie of all time, The Dark Tower.
The one that chipped the tooth.
That's right. A memorable theatrical experience, if nothing else. But yeah, I think we officially launched August of 2017. So we have surpassed the 8-year mark of doing this. Our pace of episodes has certainly varied throughout the years, and I think that can be attributed obviously to life and many of aspects of our lives changing over those 8 years, and hopefully for the better. I think overall for the better. We would probably both say. But we're still here. We're still doing this. Our episode 100 we did back in June of 2019. That was our 5 favorite films. And then March 2022, a little bit more recently, post-COVID, but obviously still going back 3+ years, we did our 5 favorite television shows. And so episode 300, it was kind of just like, all right, well, starting with 5 favorite films was very obvious. Then it was going to 5 favorite television shows. That was very obvious. Those totally made sense. They were very easy. 300 is a little less obvious of well, where do we go?
Zack Snyder's 300, of course.
Zack Snyder's 300 was obviously strongly in contention, and that led us to thinking about how gifted Zack Snyder is as a director. And so there you have it. We had to talk about our 5 favorite directors, and we all owe it to Zack Snyder, of course. None of that is true, although maybe we have talked about 300 in the past. So, that part has entered the conversation. So, we're here to talk about our 5 favorite directors. I think it's a natural thing for us to go back to talking about films. I guess I'll specify this is generally speaking 5 favorite film directors. I think there are obviously directors that do focus principally on television, and some of the directors that come up on this episode probably will have directed television as well. I would speculate, at least knowing my end of things. And so, this felt like a really kind of natural place to take it with our next milestone episode is 5 favorite directors, an opportunity to talk about, kind of the person in terms of the film business that theoretically is leading the charge, is kind of takes the overall responsibility for making some of the movies that we grew up with, that we love, that these days get Andrew into a theater, which is easier said than done, or just whatever it is, the people that we were excited to revisit their movies, to see what they're still bringing to us, if they're obviously still with us, there's so much that can be said about what a director does, the impact a director has had on us personally. And so that's what led us here, is talking about, what we're going to say are our 5 favorite directors as of October of 2025. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's the end of an era. I think I teased this a little bit for anyone that listened to our K-pop Demon Hunters episode 299. we're going to change the format of the show once we hit episode 301, and we haven't explained exactly what that's going to look like. I think the overall goal is streamlining our recording sessions, streamlining the episodes themselves, giving ourselves, I think, better sleep schedules, and setting ourselves up for more success in life, probably generally speaking, while also I think having the benefit of a better product for the podcast. I think quite honestly. So we're going to get into that once we hit 301. But what I'll say is this is kind of the end of an era, and I think that it made sense to take it to 300. We could have switched, a few episodes ago, but we wanted to take it through 300 to kind of have like a nice, a little sense of finality to it, celebrating, kind of what the podcast has been, and then welcoming, ushering in a new era, a little bit of change for the podcast. And it's not, it's radical in the sense that it will be different, but I think
it's a different format. I mean, we've had the same format since probably episode 2 or 3 or something, I feel like.
More or less. We've tinkered with news, streamlining that sometimes. We've done different things. I think Box Office Breakdown used to get its own like literal separate section in the early days, and then that got consolidated into movies, and then probably morphed back into basically just being what it was in the first place. So anyway, all that to say, we will talk about the new things, the new format, on our next episode. This episode is not going to be the start of that new format. This is, of course, kind of a special episode, a sort of bonus episode in a way where, we're not doing our standard format because of what we're doing, but it will be structurally very similar to what we did with our previous milestone episodes with 100 and 200. So if anyone that listens to those back in the day, may have a, they have an expectation of what this is going to look like. And then this is going to look very similar to that. We're going to be doing, a little bit up top just to set up what we're talking about, in terms of the directors, and we'll do probably a fairly extensive list of some honorable mentions, because 5 is a small number and there are lots of directors that have certainly impacted us. And so taking it to 5 is hard enough, I think, to not even pay any sort of lip service to some other folks who just couldn't quite make it into our top 5. I think would be doing it a disservice. But yeah, that's kind of how it's going to go. Then we'll finish with our top 5, of course. We'll do, I think I have mine ranked in order. I don't know if you did a specific ranking. I know some of those episodes you gave a 5 that weren't specifically ranked, but obviously were, the 5 that separated themselves from the rest of the pack. So
yeah, well, at least I'm consistent.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going to expect something similar on that front. I mean, and that's totally fair. The beauty of this is there are no rules. We make the rules. This is our podcast. So we can just do whatever the fuck we want, man. That's the joy of this, is we don't have to do this to please anyone. We do this because I think this is going to be a really fun episode. I've really been looking forward to recording this.
As have I.
I think it's been now, I want to say 3 weeks since we recorded last, and been doing a lot. I've watched a lot in preparation for this episode. I'm really excited to get into that and see if our picks overlap. I mean, I have to expect that there's going to be some overlap. I think films we overlapped, television shows we did not, in terms of our our personal top 5s. But we talk about a lot of people frequently on this podcast. I think probably our picks are not going to be hugely surprising, I wouldn't guess, but at the same time, we've done our selections independently. We don't know what each other has picked, and part of the fun of this episode
purposely have been vague, right?
It's not, well, right. It's not just for ourselves getting the chance to rewatch things, watch things, kind of think about these things and figure it out internally, but also be like, well, what's Mr. Meadows been up to, over the past few weeks? What's he been watching? Who's he been thinking about? Who's making his?
You probably
list,
know already. You probably know.
I have suspicions, but I've been surprised before. You really never know. So either way, we're gonna get into all that, I guess, right now, because why not?
Is it upon us? Is it time? It's time.
I think so.
300, man.
Episode 300. Let's let that preamble over. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes of episode 300 right now. We're going to start with just this open-ended question of, hey man, for anyone listening that maybe is like, director, I know directors, I recognize these names, but what do they actually do? And what I'll say is, and I said this to you before we started recording, this episode is not intended to be a thesis statement or like a overall once you've listened to the however many hours this ends up being, you understand everything about directors. You will understand everything about our picks and, their style. No, there's tons of literature out there about all of that, but I do think it at least gives us an easy starting point of like, why are we doing this? Why are we talking about directors? Like, surely they have some level of importance if this is, after 5 favorite films and 5 favorite TV shows, we're now talking about directors. Like, that must be a pretty big deal. And the answer to that question is, generally speaking, yes, they are kind of
a big deal.
The person who is the most in control of a film. Purely talking about film, I think the role of a director in a television setting is quite different, or can be quite different. It can certainly be closer to a film. So again, I'll specify that I'm really talking about a film director here. They're the person who basically is responsible for taking the written information, taking the script. Sometimes it's their own script, sometimes it's others people. Most of the time, really, it's someone else's words, and figuring out what is this going to look like, and how is this person, or who am I going to get to play these roles? How are they going to play these roles? Okay, they did it this way, but I'm not sure if I really like that. Like, how do I tinker with that and guide them? Move them towards kind of what's in my brain. There's something in my brain. I need to put it on the screen. I need the people around me to help me do that, to create. I can't do this myself. The director has this role of basically being part of every aspect of the production to a certain extent.
In order to direct the production to a certain...
In order to direct it to make it in line with kind of what they want for the project, So, you're choosing your actors, you're choosing your actresses, you're hiring the right people for your production design, to make the sets, to make the location scouting, all kind of, what you want. At the same time, maybe you're dealing with some of the business, there's a lot of creative stuff that you're doing, but maybe there's some business sides of things too that you have to work with. You only have certain amounts of money. You work with the producer to figure out these sorts of things. But, at the end of the day, you can't just do anything and everything you want. You have a responsibility to a studio, to someone, to the fact that, like, I only have this amount of money. I would love to do it this way, but that would cost 3 times as much money, and then I wouldn't be able to do this other thing. So there's so much that goes into being a director. And something that I think probably will be true, I would imagine, of our probably top 5 picks is, like, some directors have more control over these aspects than others.
Oh, certainly, for sure.
Some people, like, top down, like, everything runs through me. I am making all of the decisions. This is 100% on me, and I have full creative control over every aspect of this. This is my baby, and you will not fuck with my baby. You will not do anything to jeopardize my baby, and fuck with what I'm making, because at the end of the day, this is my thing. I'm the director. The buck stops with me.
I suppose it depends on clout and budget, right?
Absolutely. Not, most directors making their first movie are not in a position to have that sort of liberty. It's just not how it works. It's a business at the end of the day. You want to make sure that your money or your investment in this movie is being protected. It's not being thrown away. It's not being wasted. It's not going to things where you're going to have to spend more money just to unfuck something. So yeah, I mean, most directors have to work their way up. They make a movie that does well. They make a movie that's received well, and then they have to do another one, and then they do another one, and then maybe they're kind of at that point where they are given the keys to the kingdom and allowed this opportunity to show you, like, hey, here's what I can do unfettered by bullshit, studio interference, tinkering here and there, some other sort of aspect that could, potentially mess with their vision. So yeah, again, I think most of the directors that we're going to talk about are, like, those kind of people that have reached a point in their career where they kind of just make the shit they want to make, and they make it the way they want to make it.
And that was kind of the perhaps we're getting there. I don't want to jump ahead.
Well, the next question is basically, before we get into honorable mentions, how did you construct your top 5?
Hard
what
segue
went into that. So yes, we can go there right now. So yeah,
part of my criteria, at least I tried to my best to adhere to it, is do they have the tenure to command that level
yes,
of
totally. I think that's
control
really
over their
valid
production
consideration.
Yes. And even so, do they have the tenure, and do they have the have they put out enough movies? Because we've seen it with, for example, okay, if you would have asked me, I guess probably 20 years ago at this point, if Ridley Scott is one of the best directors, I'd probably say, yeah, absolutely. Right? Really love, every movie he's put out has just been fucking awesome. Ridley Scott's awesome. Now I just think of him as, I mean, fuck, he just needs to retire. You know what I mean? So
old man Ridley.
Yeah, right? So
these days.
it's an interesting balance, you know, because if you haven't made enough movies, I don't know what you're going to make in the future to where maybe, you know, I don't feel comfortable saying that you're my favorite. Right?
It cuts both ways. There's directors, I think maybe to me, like the example that came to mind, because I had this exact same criteria that I thought about. It was like, well, if you haven't been doing it long enough, then you maybe haven't fully earned my trust, you know, where it's just like, yeah, you put out a few great movies, or you put out one or two great movies, like, even if it's the best movie of all time, until I can see some sort of consistency, then it's hard for me to like put you in my personal top 5. I might give you an honorable mention, you know what I mean?
Case in point, District 21.
For 100% where I was going. Neil Blomkamp, you know, man, he just came, he came. He
hit the ground fucking running, sprinting. He won that fucking race, dude. He killed it. And then...
Yes, District 9 was like
District 9.
I mean, holy
District 21.
It was fucking incredible. District 21 is the sequel that he's going to try to make now that he's trying to claw back to making movies that people actually care about. But anyway, yeah, I mean, District 9 was absolutely astonishing. Like, I think Neil Blomkamp was like, oh my god, this guy's gonna make some fucking noise in Hollywood. And like Elysium came out, and it's like, well, it's fine. It's not as good as District 9, but you know what is. And then Chappie came out, and you're like, maybe this guy kind of
he's almost like I would say he's almost like he's a Gareth Edwards kind of guy. Just he never delivered on anything other than District 9. You know, Gareth Edwards works with small budget and puts out big movies. You know, and he's really grown and blown up in a big way, whereas Blomkamp just fucking fizzled out. It almost seems like. So
yeah, he went in reverse. You know, he peaked with number 1, and then not only did he never reach those heights, he never even came close.
No.
You know, and started to make some real stinkers, and then, you know, probably got sent to director jail for a while, and then came back and made Gran Turismo or some shit. You know, it's like, all right,
totally fine.
You know,
paycheck movie.
So it really is.
That's another thing.
Paycheck movie, Guy Ritchie's,
paycheck
you know, the world.
Yes.
That you know, like Guy Ritchie, he's not an honorable mention of mine, and the reason for that is
paycheck movies.
I mean, I'm talking about him now, so he's a pre-honorable mention. He's a sort of like a vaguely dishonorable mention, because what I'll say is Guy Ritchie has put out some great fucking movies.
Yes,
some really stylish, great fucking movies.
Genre-defining film.
He's probably put out an equal number of paycheck movies that are just fucking trash, where it's just like, why did you do this? I mean, I get it. I mean, you needed money.
Paycheck, right?
And like, I don't begrudge anyone for, you know, that like taking a job where they're just going to be paid millions of dollars. And like, I mean, I don't really have to like put my 100%, you know, I can kind of half-ass this shit. Like, I get it. I'm not mad about that. Like, you know, in terms of like if I could do that for my job, I'd fucking do it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I totally get that.
I think it's why authors use what is it when they use different names for themselves?
Oh, right, yeah, like
but then that
names or like ghostwriting,
exactly. But then that doesn't put asses in seats either. So you have to put Guy Ritchie on the front page of your movie, or right there on the poster, or in the trailer, so everybody knows it's a Guy Ritchie movie. And they go in, it's a paycheck movie.
So it's like this could have been directed by a cardboard cutout.
15 years ago, you would ask me about Guy Ritchie. Yeah, Guy Ritchie's right there on the top. He's really in the discussion. You know, he's in the running.
Sure.
But after 15 years of like, paycheck movies,
what, I mean, we joke about Zack Snyder, but like, I don't know, legitimately, when I was younger, Dawn of the Dead, 300, hell, even Watchmen, like.
Now see. Those
like,
movies.
I don't know if he would necessarily still have been my top 5, but he might have warranted an honorable mention, like an actual honorable mention.
homie, probably at the same time, when you're talking about Zack Snyder in those years, how much, like, we see unrestrained Zack Snyder. You know what I'm saying? We see what that is now.
Yeah.
Do you think that?
Bad.
Do you think that was unrestrained Zack Snyder on 300 or Watchmen? Was that unrestrained Zack Snyder then?
I think it was unrestrained visually, but restrained narratively because it was adaptations. Dawn of the Dead was a remake. 300 was an adaptation of the Frank Miller graphic novel. Watchmen was an adaptation of the Alan Moore graphic novel. And it really wasn't until I think Sucker Punch that we got full on, I have helped write this movie, and we started to see the seams, kind of come apart. And like Man of Steel is not bad. I think it's narratively misunderstands Superman or whatever, but as a film, I don't think it's terrible. And it's not really until Batman v Superman and Zack Snyder's Justice League and Rebel Moon that we see like full untethered. He has been given full reins, and so yes, it cuts both ways in that sense of like. Sometimes limitations are okay. I mean, sometimes the most creative filmmaking happens when you've got a budget and you can't, like, you've got to figure out how to fucking do this shot. You can't just give it off to a CGI, production company to figure it out for you in post-production. Like, you got to figure it out day of, and you can't really do it the way you want to do it. The way you want to do it looks like shit, so you got to figure out some way to improvise. Like, to me, that's kind of the hallmark of, the director is like, having a vision and knowing how to either, do it yourself or consult with the people around you that,
I think it's the best filmmaking.
Can help guide you, and suddenly because you've been forced to do this without just doing it in like the easy way out.
It's
like,
earned.
You actually benefit from it, So yeah. So anyway, point being, obviously there are directors that, yes, could have been on here, but stuck around too long, okay, all right, give it up. Maybe retirement's not a bad idea. And there are other directors that I think legitimately probably will crack my top 5 at some point in my life if they can sustain what they've done early in their career, which just remains to be seen, So I will mention some of those names and honorable mentions when we do get there, but that was certainly one of my criteria as well. So I fully agree with you there. Was there anything else that went into your selection process, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, consistency is a big one. Years of work is another one. Yeah. I mean, because you have a couple of people that have almost the same length filmography, I would say. But the length or the time between the films is tremendously different. You know what I'm saying? So
sure.
At the very least, how long have I known your name? I feel like that's a big one. So we'll get into that director when we get there. And I think that whatever they're doing, whether it be the big thing for me is they own a thing, like you can tell it's them or
something signature about that.
It's a signature, right?
Like
it's
an unseen. Come into it cold, not knowing. You just see.
You see 5 minutes of screen time, and you know what it is.
This is so and so's movie.
It's like an unseen watermark,
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah,
and that's whether it's a vibe or whether it's the dialogue or whether it's the shot or whether it's the shot composition. Yeah, I mean, just anything. It could be anything because they're all a little bit different, right? And so each one of these people, I think, have something that they completely own. It's theirs. It's their style, and maybe not all the movies are consistent, right? And that's where I struggled with one of my picks is maybe the films aren't consistent. But I still appreciate the vibe. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's still subjective a little bit,
Right, but it's also like, is it very much still their style?
Right.
Even if it's not a total success, like, is it a paycheck movie or is it a creative thing that just didn't work
Didn't land
for
with
whatever
me.
reason.
Right, exactly.
Or on a personal level, too, for sure. So yeah, no, I think that's all valid to consider as well. And I
Those
I
are
agree.
pretty much my criterias.
Yeah. I mean, that the thing you said about the no, I agree. The watermark thing is kind of, I fully agree with that. Like every director that stands out to me has like kind of their own unique brand. They're a visionary in some way, and I think that there are directors who I've watched their movies and I've really enjoyed their movies, and they've made some really good movies. And like honestly, like to me, the example of someone where I've liked a lot of their movies and I haven't watched some of their more recent ones, but like the Russo brothers are like directors where I'm like, man, their Marvel work I think is actually really impressive overall.
Yeah.
But if you asked me to describe the style of the Russo brothers in terms of their filmmaking, I would not have an answer for you. I don't really know what to tell you. Like some pretty good action, I think I think they're good action directors.
Yeah. They're successful. They're successful action directors is what they are. They're genre directors. And I think that's probably big, right? Like I know how to get everybody on set moving in a particular direction, right? Lack of a better term. I can get everybody on board, and I know how to capture it on camera, and I know how to get this product the way I want it.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. I mean, and to make two of the biggest movies of all time with an absurd, amount of very, very famous people that probably had very difficult to organize schedules in Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, like, it is no small feat making those movies, and I'm sure it will be no small feat making Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like, I mean, I think that, well, maybe it helps that there are two of them, but like, that's very impressive in its own sort of way. But they're not my favorite directors either, because I'm like, even though I love those movies, and I think Winter Soldier is one of my favorite MCU movies, still maybe my number one for the MCU, but like, I don't know. I think about like their stuff outside of Marvel, and what I've seen, it hasn't done anything for me, and none of it, and they still just don't seem to have that sort of unique sort of thing to them that stands out to me. Of like, I think that they're very capable, qualified directors that have done some really good work, and I sincerely hope in the next couple of years will continue to do good work for Marvel. But I couldn't in good faith really put them here, even as a real honorable mention. So again, they're coming up in the conversation, so they're getting a mention. But like that's an example to me of just like, I want a director that has like you said, when I watch their movie, I know so and so made this movie, and I don't really need to even like Google it on my phone to figure it out. Like I can look at it and be like, oh, this is so and so.
Yeah,
I can just tell intuitively.
And see, the Russo brothers put together a prod. They're in my mind, and I can't think of any right now. I can't think of any, but I think there's directors out there that make they know how to package the thing.
Yeah.
And they do it really well. There's nothing wrong with doing it.
Like, right. And there's a skill to that. There's a way to do that poorly. We've seen certainly.
Who did the John Wick movies? Who did John Wick's?
Chad Stahelski has done most of them. David Leitch, I think, co-directed the first one. And I think that's another good example of like someone who like, man, those John Wick movies are fucking slick. They're stylish, great action, great, gun fu sorts of sequences. Like, man, they're like really fucking good movies, actually, and in a very distinct style of action, to those movies that like is really well choreographed and really well shot in a way that like, even some of my favorite directors that are on my list cannot do action in a way like someone like Chad Stahelski can. Like, just quite literally, like they are not as technically capable in that particular realm. Now they have other things to bring to the table, but yeah, I think that's another good example of just like, certain directors bring different skill sets to the table, and like that's not. I'm not saying any of this to disrespect anyone. Like, I mean, I don't like Zack Snyder's movies that he himself has creatively inserted himself into. But I do think he's a talented director in on another sort of way. Of just like, I think visually he's got a pretty interesting eye for things. like slow-mo a lot. That's his signature style. I mean, I can watch a Zack Snyder movie and I can fucking tell you right away it's a Zack Snyder movie, no question. So he's got that going for him. It doesn't mean just because he has that, he's in my top 5. But you know, like there's a lot of directors that bring a lot to the table, and I think there's a lot of considerations that I have to think about of like, well, why is it in my top 5? You know, and obviously it at the end of the day comes down to not just the fact that they have this particular style, but also it's a particular style that I just like. I mean, that's a very subjective thing to think.
Yeah, right.
And I think that kind of leads me probably to my last thing on here of terms of like how I picked it. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's just shit I like.
I just like it.
And like, I just fucking like it. It just appeals to me. I maybe when I talk about this person, explain why I like it. But at the end of the day,
it's just because I like
my
it.
top 5 because this is my opinion and because
it's totally like
they make me feel things personally, and like it's totally like my opinion, man. So like I just really like something about the way they do things and the movies that they've made. Like they've done enough movies that I'm just like I just like their shit, man. Like at the end of the day, I just really like their shit. And I look forward to when they make new shit, you know? And like that's kind of, to me, that was almost kind of the number one consideration of just being like let me look through my library of movies, my catalog of movies, and like, oh, that's a good movie, that's a good movie, that's a good movie. Oh, that director does really good stuff. You know, a lot of that was kind of just like figuring it out from there of just like, what are the movies that I've liked, you know? And then suddenly you look and you're like, shit, I own just every one of this director's movies. I like them all.
Pretty good giveaway.
You know, and like, so that's kind of where when you start to see that, like it makes it pretty easy when you really think about that. Then the harder part is like, well, are they number 1? Are they number 3? Are they number 5? I don't know, you know, so that's where it gets a little trickier, but yeah, you know, at the end of the day, these are just people that really appeal to me on a personal level, which is to say, that's why they're going to make my top 5 is because it's my opinion. And what I'll say, even moving into honorable mentions where we'll certainly say more than 5 names, is like, I can't mention every single director on earth. I honestly won't be able to mention every director that I have personally enjoyed a film of. And there are probably going to be directors that like a few days after recording this, I think, oh, I should have mentioned that person. I should have mentioned them by name.
Shit, I guarantee you that's the case with me.
I probably actually would consider them one of my like runner-up favorite directors, and yet somehow in my 3 weeks of prepping for this episode, maybe they were literally on my list, and I missed, I skip over their name, or I didn't think about it until after. Like there's going to be people like that, and I think that maybe people listening are going to think, oh, I love this director, and they didn't even talk about this fucking director. Like, wow, these guys are fucking morons.
Well, you can send it in the comment section, or not the comment section.
I mean, maybe like it may be a glaring omission. It may be an intentional omission. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what Andrew's got on his list. He doesn't exactly. I mean, we have ideas, we have suspicions, but we don't really know. So, anyway, preamble after the preamble, I think is probably. Concluded at this point. I think we can get into some honorable mentions if you're ready. So what I'll say as a preamble to this little bit. I just like fucking with people. I'm like, oh god, here he goes again. If anyone listens to our episode 100, I did a thing where I listened back to 100 and 200 because they're fun little time capsule things, and I wanted to get a sense of like how we structure those episodes as well. One of the things that you ended up doing, it's very funny, is when you were thinking of your honorable mentions for your 5 favorite films, is you just group things by director. So if anyone wants to like listen to like that episode, that's a June 2019 version of this episode in a sort of way. So I am very curious, having listened to that recently, if we're going to have the same names pop up 6 years later.
Oh my gosh. We're going to find out if I'm truly consistent.
Exactly. And I'll be able to maybe recognize it, maybe pick up on it. But I if anyone wants a fun little exercise of where our headspaces are 6 years apart, it's a fun way of looking at things. I divided the honorable mentions into a few different categories. What I have first is a list of shame, which is basically directors that I'm like, I know by reputation are very good, and I've maybe seen like 1 or 2 movies, and I know they've made a fuck ton more than that I haven't seen. So like, there's just no way. There's just no way that I could consider this director one of my favorites when I've barely, scratched the surface on what they brought to the world.
That's true.
And so, but I want to give them an honorable mention because they have made movies that I personally recognize as being significant in some way. So we'll do that in a second. We're going to do some absolute legends, which is kind of similar, where you've seen more movies, the same sort of thing. Like critically, they're all, a lot of well-received movies. They've done some incredible work, but it maybe is not necessarily to your personal taste such that it's like, this person could be knocking on the door of my personal top 5. Like, they're comfortably outside of the top 5. They're comfortably outside of the top 10, but they've made some really good shit. And I think that it would be a glaring omission if I didn't personally recognize some of these names. That's what that will be. And then finally, it will be like our true, honest, honorable mentions of any one of these names probably could have been in the top 5. But there could only be 5, Highlander shit, except there's 5. There could be only 5. So they get the axe they got chopped, chopped. Only one can win. Only 5 can win, but we had to chop, a few names off the list. So anyway, that's what we got for honorable mentions. Then we'll get into our top 5. So buckle up. Let's do it. Let's do our list of shame. I don't know how in depth you got with prepping these things. I'm happy to kick things off with some list of shame names. I don't know if there was anyone that particularly came to mind for you, but as I said, I'm happy to kick things off here if you'd rather that.
Yeah. I'll kick it off with, I've had this conversation. I've told, like you said, it's been 3 weeks since we've talked about doing this episode. Right. And I've talked to a couple of people, and I told them, hey, we're going to be recording an episode on favorite directors. Who are your favorite directors? And one director that came to mind that I know that I've seen a couple of the movies, and I think they're very good. Perhaps I think this person directed a movie recently that was pretty crazy. Okay. But anyways, his name is Francis Ford Coppola. I know he has a vineyard.
Oh yeah, sure.
He's got
brought us Megalopolis quite recently.
I thought so. I thought that was him.
Self-funded. Fucker put like tens of millions of dollars of his own money into it, probably from the wine. But yeah.
Yeah. He's got movies that I've seen, so Lost in Translations, Apocalypse Now, The Godfather, I think, is probably one of the biggest ones.
Yep. Godfather trilogy, sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those directors that Patton is another one that's supposed to be really good. Never saw it, but
stuff where you're just like, I bet there's a lot of really good shit here. I just haven't watched it. That's kind of what this category is for.
It's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that one came to mind. And I want to say this is I'm doing this live, but I want to say I've seen most of this gentleman's movies.
Fuck it, do it live.
Nope, I've seen most of his movies. So we'll just we'll keep this fella for the next section.
Table him, yeah. He'll slot in somewhere else, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, on my end, I have 30 names. No, just kidding.
Oh shit! I was like, whoa! I did that. I did not do my homework adequately.
There are I would say there are the directors that like. So I mean, and I've said this. I feel like recently on some of the more recent episodes, like my exposure to movies like is stuff that I grew up with like a little bit, more like I watched some stuff from the 80s, but I, other than the stuff that I've kind of gone out of my way for, I haven't really watched a ton of stuff from the 70s and before. There's stuff that I've seen from before, but I'm not super well exposed to that. And that's something that like, I would love to go back and watch a lot more stuff. Like I have nothing against, older movies. I think there's a really interesting thing about watching stuff that, was made, 70, 80 years ago or 50, 40 years ago, like that stuff is really, really interesting. 40 years ago, I guess that's the 80s or whatever, but we don't need to think about that. So some of the names that stand out from that particular type of thing, John Ford is a director that has the personal record for the most Academy Awards for Best Director. He won four total.
On what?
For The Informer, The Grapes of Wrath, How Green Was My Valley, and The Quiet Man. And those range from 1935 to 1952. I have seen none of those movies. I don't know that I've seen a single movie that John Ford made. But he's
They're probably pretty good.
Directed 130 movies from 1917 to 1970.
Paycheck movies now? That sounds like paycheck movies. 130 movies.
It very well could be, but he might have made. It sounds like he made at least 4 bangers, and I don't know. But either way,
well, shit. Every squirrel finds a nut. You make a movie. You make 2 movies a year. You're about to make a good one.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong about that, but maybe it was nonstop bangers. But obviously a very different era of filmmaking, and there's nothing that I can say about that man personally to say but anyway, he's my representative of here a bunch of older timey directors where I'm like, I haven't seen a single thing that this person has made, but I could Google best directors of all time and they're going to be high on the list somewhere. That's the kind of person that John Ford was. Now, on the other hand, there are directors where I've seen 1 or 2 things that are kind of in that closer to that era, a little bit later, or less so. Ingmar Bergman's an example. I watched The Seventh Seal.
Oh yeah, okay.
Only movie I've seen from him, and he's considered one of the best directors. So it's I can't. I've seen one movie that was really good, but I've seen nothing else. Can't really say that. Orson Welles is kind of a similar vein. Citizen Kane, man, actually is a fucking.
That's a real good one.
It's a fantastic movie. It is, obviously, kind of considered in some circles as the best movie of all time or whatever. And I don't know if it's my favorite movie of all. Well, I know it's not. I've said that on episode 100. It's not my favorite movie of all time. But it's really good, and Orson Welles' influence and level of prestige in terms of directors in Hollywood, it's very, very apparent. Hitchcock's another one. Alfred Hitchcock, man, I've watched more than one Hitchcock. I've watched a handful of Hitchcocks, but I would say I've probably seen less than 25% of Hitchcock's movies, and I'm willing to bet that not all of them would be amazing or fantastic or whatever. But I just. There's so much more out there for me to watch that I haven't watched. I can't put them there. Akira Kurosawa, same thing. Seven Samurai, fucking incredible movie, but I've watched one out of however many movies. And then on the more recent side of things is my last entry for this particular part. Someone that passed away recently, David Lynch.
Oh yeah.
Is widely considered a very visionary filmmaker and someone who I'm kind of on the outskirts of. My exposure to David Lynch is that shitty Dune movie he made. And that's just not right. By all accounts, he's made some really fucking intriguing,
Twin Peaks is pretty
stuff.
wild.
Twin Peaks, Mulholland Drive, other things, just things where it's just I bet that is probably something I would get something out of. I don't know what. Maybe I wouldn't really totally like his shit, but I don't know. I haven't really given it a chance either, so it's hard for me to really say. So, so those are that's my small list of shame that probably could be much more expansive. Could take another hour of being I really should do this, but the problem is I don't have enough time to do all that. I would love to. I would 100% love to. If there's someone that I have mentioned or have not mentioned and there's a few things that you oh God, you really need to see this. Hey man, lay it on us. watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. I'd love to hear what should be added to the list of shame, but those are some names that stood out to me of I know I'm fucking up. I just don't have time. I have the patience. I don't have the time.
That's the truth.
It's kind of where I'm at with it. So, so that can bring us to our absolute legends, kind of subcategory for our honorable mentions. Again, these are directors oh man, they've done a lot of really, really great shit. But at the end of the day, for whatever reason, they're just not in my personal sphere of directors that I'm I fucking love everything that they've done. And I think some of these, it's probably as simple as I've probably seen half of these movies, but I've been, by the same token, missing half their movies. And can I really say that they're one of my favorite directors if I've missed half their shit? Probably not, kind of feels
yeah.
That's something that should be said. I mean, it's tough too, because some directors, I don't know, about 130 movies, but they might have 30,
quite a few,
and
right.
You've watched 15. It's I've watched 15 fucking movies. That should count for something. But Anyway, was there anyone that I think maybe you moved a name over to this list from that could have been in your list of shame, but was there anyone else that maybe jumps to mind for you in
for
this
honorable mentions?
Well, just the kind of the legends, people that aren't quite into your personal.
Yes,
so I love their shit, but like, man, they have made some good stuff. It's just not 100% my cup of tea.
Wes Anderson,
co-sign that. He's on my list. Fucking unique filmmaker.
Some of them
very
are
recognizable style,
awesome.
Almost comical at this point.
Yes,
and some are really great. I mean, Grand Budapest is top
See, I haven't
tier.
seen that one.
I love his stop motion stuff. I think Fantastic Mr. Fox is
spectacular.
Great.
One of the best.
Isle of Dogs. We really, really enjoyed. We covered that.
Isle of Dogs is awesome. But some of them, I've watched some of them. Most recently, I've watched the one with the Asteroid City. And that one just didn't, I don't know. I just didn't really.
Yeah. But, it's quintessentially Wes Anderson, but is that enough?
When it clicks, it clicks. And when it doesn't click, it just doesn't click. I watched Sing. I didn't know that was his fucking movie. Sing is a banger of a movie. I really like that one a whole lot.
That, or did you just
No, yeah, he didn't. I don't know what he did. Gareth Jennings directed it. Okay. Well,
okay. I was like, man, that's a very un-Wes Anderson.
Yeah, Google
movie.
put it in his shit, so he must have wrote it or something. I don't know.
AI or something probably.
Yeah.
No, that's a good shout. That's definitely on my list. I guess I'll check that off just to make sure I don't say his name again. Totally agree. Totally agree. Very, very fucking unique filmmaker. With some, and I think that like he's because he's such a unique filmmaker, there are definitely people out there maybe listening who are like, I fucking live and breathe Wes Anderson. I will watch everything that he makes and fucking love it and adore it. And like, obviously you're going to have preferences, but there are definitely a school of people that are 1000% in on his shit. And I enjoy it and I like it when I dip in, but I dip in and out and like, that's okay for me. I don't feel like
that's enough Wes Anderson. Like, it's pretty bold. It's like a real bold blue cheese. It's real tasty.
Take it every
I
few
take
years.
it on
I'm
my
like,
chicken wings, maybe a little bit on.
All right, it's a little different. I don't think I could do this every day.
Right. Exactly. It's not no craft single. That's for sure.
All right. Who else? Who else for you?
I tell you what. The big one, I think, probably the biggest one. I think. Let's not go to the biggest one yet. I'm going to go to James Cameron. Let's do James Cameron.
Great answer that I will also co-sign as being on my list as well.
James Cameron. I have enjoyed many of his films, such as T2, Terminator 2.
Fucking incredible movie. Terminator 1, for that matter.
Yep, that's true. Titanic, Aliens. I also enjoyed, growing up, I enjoyed The Abyss. I don't know if that hit critical acclaim or not. I
think these days people like it pretty well.
True Lies. To be fair, I'm on Google here, and it just lists movies that he's associated with.
It's just AI. Well, those are all his movies, so the AI has not failed you.
Okay, so True Lies. I did not know he was part of Rambo Part 2, but that is awesome. Another awesome movie. Escape from New York.
He apparently co-wrote Rambo with Sylvester Stallone, so that's his involvement there.
No, okay, all right, fair enough. Anyways, Jimmy C has a quite the long career, dating back to at least the 80s. And I haven't seen all of his movies. I don't think all of them are as spectacular as some others. Like Judgment Day is a awesome movie. Titanic's an awesome movie. I don't quite get what the deal is with Avatar. But I will tell you that James Cameron is James Cameron pushes the envelope. James Cameron has ushered the film industry into wild directions. And that's what he's left his mark. So while he might not be my favorite director, I feel like the movies that I really, really enjoy stand on his shoulders in some capacity, one way or the other. And that goes with a couple of my a couple of my absolute legend category filmmakers. I think that the movies that I really enjoy, and the directors that make them, are able to make them because of folks like James Cameron and some of the other people that I'm going to mention. He's just an incredible guy, right? Almost like that guy that passed away for the IMAX. I never knew his name. You know what I mean? But they push the industry in wild directions. They push the envelope, and So current film owes a lot to James Cameron.
For sure. No, and he's on my list really for the same reasons, and like that run from, I guess, really 84 to 97, culminating with Titanic. I've said in the past of this podcast, I think maybe even episode 100, that I wasn't a big fan of Titanic. And what I will say is, since meeting my wife and rewatching Titanic, I have a new appreciation. Dude. It's a great movie. I mean, on a filmmaking level, it's very, very impressive. It's a very technically impressive film. But it's actually just a great fucking film. We actually just rebought it in 4K. So we'll probably revisit it at some point in the near future. Well, I say rebought it. I've never purchased Titanic in my life. That was the first time I've ever purchased it in my life. Anna has the DVD, and it was due for a replacement because I ain't watching that shit on DVD. Let's put it that way. But yeah, man, like the problem with James Cameron, the problem with Jimmy C is since 1997, the dude has made 2 fucking movies. He's directed 2 movies. He's made Avatar and Avatar: The Way of Water, and then obviously soon will be 3 with Fire and Ash. And I like those movies. I've enjoyed those movies when I've watched them. But man, do I not fucking care about Avatar. And like, I don't get excited about Avatar. I don't fucking care. I will watch it, but I just am not excited about it. They are incredibly impressive tech demos. I mean, truly pioneering technology. Like Jimmy C is a huge, I mean, he's made a huge impact on Hollywood, on filmmaking, on visual effects, and like, man, like he is a pioneer of the genre, but I just don't fucking care about Avatar, man. Like, I wish that he was doing other shit. Like, if he wanted to make an Avatar and then, like, I don't know, go do something I actually care about and then go back to Avatar, fine. But dude has spent now, going on 30 years on fucking Avatar.
He did go visit the bottom of the ocean.
He did do that. That's true. He did do that. And like, obviously that probably fucking cool. Inspired Avatar, or Avatar inspired that. And then it fed back into Avatar. Like, the man lives and breathes Avatar. I respect it on one hand, but man, I just don't care. So that's why he made my list. It's just like once upon a time. And like, I think if you are talking purely like all time greats, James Cameron probably makes that list. And I think he deservedly makes that list. But for me on a personal level, if he hasn't made something, He's still alive. He's still making movies, but he hasn't made anything in 30 years that has really, got me excited about like what he's doing. So it's hard for me to consider my favorite if it's the last time he made a movie that I was like, that I like now that I didn't even like then, or by the time I watched it. Like the last time he made a movie that I actually liked, I was barely alive. Like it's kind of it's hard to put it that way. So anyway, James Cameron was on my list. Any other names you want me to spit a few at you? What you got?
I think the one that I will be going to next is going to be Steven Spielberg. Okay. Steven Spielberg is going to make my list. He has directed, according to IMDb, 62 films. And I have seen nowhere near 62 of Steven Spielberg's films. I will say, of the films that I have seen, Steven Spielberg single-handedly directed my childhood while he directed the films. So that would say that, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, well, I guess just those two. Those two were pivotal. I actually think that I started to love movies because of Steven Spielberg. I remember going to visit my grandpa up in West Virginia, and he had me watch Temple of Doom. That was directed by him. Okay. Was that Temple? Yep. And while it is definitely by far not the best Indiana Jones, 5-year-old me, 6-year-old me, I mean, I still remember sitting on the couch watching it. It was a big moment in my life. I mean, Jaws. He's again, the movies that I enjoy are probably made because they drew inspiration in one way or another from Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is probably he's got to be one of the biggest names in the industry. I mean, he is huge.
Name a director, Steven Spielberg.
That's it, exactly.
That might be the Family Feud style poll. It's probably the number one answer.
Yeah, but there are a host of movies that I have not seen of Steven Spielberg. But he is arguably probably one of the most influential. He's been one of the most influential in my life, and I actually kind of feel bad not putting him in the top 5. But like I say, you're telling me you got 60 movies out here, and I've seen 6 of them. I mean, you can't. I mean, I can't say.
Wow, I mean, you've probably seen more than 6 Spielbergs, right?
I don't know. I don't know if I have.
Indiana Jones alone is 4 of those. So.
4, yeah, that's right. Ready Player One. Let me scroll through. Minority Report. I didn't
Jurassic,
see that.
Lost
Catch
World,
Me If You Can. I've probably seen close to.
Probably like 10 or more.
10
guess,
to
right?
15. I would say
Roughly.
10 to 15. 10 to 15 of his movies. I've seen the greatest hits of Steven Spielberg. That's probably safe to say.
Probably less than half, but or around, somewhere around there, but still obviously a few that you haven't. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's totally fair.
And not all of them, like The Temple of Doom, not all of them are excellent movies.
It's not a masterpiece, is it? Huh? Yeah, no.
But it doesn't mean that, I don't know. It just doesn't mean that he was. I mean, you made Temple of Doom in a day and age where everything wasn't an IP. It feels like everything's regurgitated now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely different era. For sure.
And so, fuck, he did Hook too. I didn't know he did Hook.
Yeah, man, he's got some fucking serious bangers on.
And
that list,
Empire of the
sure.
Sun. Yeah, I mean, homie's made some movies, right? I just haven't seen any.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen half of them. So I can't say
That's fair.
that I can't say that he's one of my favorite. I can say he's probably one of the most influential. I can say that. I think he is probably the most absolute legend. I could probably say that too.
I think that's very, very valid to say. Yes,
I think he's probably the most absolute legend. He's probably the most influential. Steven Spielberg has played a very significant role in my love of film. I'll always pay homage to Steven Spielberg because he demands it. But
absolute legend. Yeah.
But the 5 that I have, I just like them, man.
Yeah, but that's valid.
So I think those are probably the ones in my honorable, my absolute legends, I would say.
Absolute legends. All right, I'm going to throw some names at you.
Okay. See if I recognize them.
You can agree. You can not say anything if you want to be like, well, maybe they're going to come up later, or or they maybe fit more into your true honorable mentions. Like you handle things however you want to handle them.
Okay.
I think in a similar vein for me as Spielberg, for me is Martin Scorsese.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Just forgot about him.
Made a lot of great fucking movies. I've seen a good chunk of them. I've pretty much liked most everything he's done, but he is not a personal favorite of mine, if that makes sense.
Totally fair.
That's kind of obviously what this is for, but and like nothing like Spielberg. There's been some stuff like I didn't really love The Irishman. I thought it was long and boring and not that good. But like Killers of the Flower Moon was long, not that boring, and actually really quite good. So like he's not in the Ridley Scott tier of Jesus Christ, dude, hanging up. Like he's done some really fucking great stuff. From the 70s, Taxi Driver to I guess the 80s. Into the 90s, Goodfellas, Casino. There's some really, really great stuff from Scorsese. And like, I liked some of the recent stuff too, that, I've kind of grown up with the chance to watch the Departed, Shutter Island. That one's good, but not amazing. The Wolf of Wall Street is a very fun movie,
I still haven't seen that.
To me, Scorsese is an absolute legend of a director, but one that I'm like, it's just not my favorite, you know, and I know people that would absolutely put him in their top 5, and I think that's an extremely respectable choice.
The same individual I spoke with that said Capella Ford, it said Scorsese. So
yeah, totally valid. Same kind of thing, absolute legend, but I can't in good conscience put in my personal, even true honorable mentions, Japanese filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki, who's made some great fucking movies. But I didn't see, the thing is, I didn't really grow up with a lot of Studio Ghibli stuff. I've come to it late, and I still haven't quite finished the journey through the Ghibli stuff. So it's hard for me to put him in my true honorable mentions. I think once I finally go through, you know, all the Ghibli stuff that he directed, I think that there's probably a good space for him. But I know a lot of people, probably perhaps yourself included, that this man may come up, you know, later in this episode, where there's some really good fucking stuff. So I'll say that maybe I won't be surprised if his name comes up again in some capacity, not to, you know, spoil the fun, but I think that he's the kind of filmmaker that I think has had more impact on you personally than on me. And that's why he's there in this category for me.
Perhaps we'll talk about it. I don't know.
Perhaps. Yes, we'll see. I'm going to shout out Tim Burton. Tim Burton's made some great fucking movies.
Okay, yeah, Tim Burton.
Tim Burton's got a very unique style. It's worked for some movies. I think he's a kind of director that hasn't done anything good in like 20 years. Like legitimately good to great. I mean, Beetlejuice was fine. Dumbo was ass. You know, like I'm going back to...
Me and my wife's first date was Dumbo.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Dumbo holds maybe Tim Burton should be higher on your list because he holds a personal place in your heart. Or maybe you did other things during Dumbo to make your experience better. Who's to say? We don't need to talk about it. But going back to the heyday of one Tim Burton, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice, Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns. Fuck, dude, that's like
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas. He didn't technically direct it, but I think he produced it, so he gets credited for that, and he was definitely involved, and I think certainly deserves credit for that. But I do think there's a point in which the Tim Burton stuff kind of falls off a bit. Like I
lived in Tim Burton's neighborhood for Edward Scissorhands. That's
true. Yeah, Carpenter's Run. That's right.
Fun fact.
Yeah. I've liked stuff. Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd. You know, has been like there's been some stuff in here like I have liked from Tim Burton, and I respect a lot of what he did, but at the end of the day, you know, he's not my personal favorite. Sam Raimi, another one for
That's
me
a good one. I was going to list that one in here. Yeah,
you know, those Evil Dead movies are incredible. The Evil Dead
Spider-Man
trilogy is incredible. The Spider-Man trilogy has 2 really good entries and another entry in it. And other than that, it's like a mixed bag. Drag Me to Hell, I think, is a really good horror movie. Oz the Great and Powerful is
shit. I didn't like that.
Kind of okay, I guess, at best.
That's generous.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was fine. I enjoyed it.
Entertaining.
I think it had so much more potential that wasn't realized. And like obviously he wasn't like, he kind of came into that later in the process. So like it is what it is. There's some stuff on here that I haven't seen. Some of his earlier stuff I haven't seen. Some of the middle kind of stuff pre Spider-Man I haven't seen. So what I have seen, I mean, Sam Raimi is a director that has a very unique directing style that is recognizable. A lot of his camera work, I think, is very memorable, especially in the Evil Dead, you know, the Deadite cam sort of things. Like he's a very creative filmmaker, and I've really liked his style. And the way that he incorporated that into something like Spider-Man was really interesting. But at the end of the day, he's not one of my personal favorites overall. I couldn't say that. But I do think he's an absolute legend in his own right. So he gets that mention here. Steven Soderbergh. He's the kind of director that makes a fuck ton of movies, and I've liked most of what I've seen, but I've probably seen less than 20% of his movies. And what I have liked, I have enjoyed a lot. I get like the Ocean's movies, I think are quite good.
Yeah. Right.
I'm trying to look down his list just quickly to be like Contagion. That was a good movie. We talked about that, obviously, 2020. Logan Lucky is a really fucking fun movie. I've heard good things about Black Bag, which came out this year, but I didn't watch that. So again, just like a kind of, I don't know. I like his style.
He's a heist movie guy.
Yeah, he's got a few of those. He's got some other stuff, and just like he did the Che Part 1 and 2, which I think you saw with Benicio.
Those are big ones.
So like he's got range and like the type of movie that he makes. Like obviously he's done some heisty stuff too, but he's done a lot of different things and like I don't know, just kind of all over the map, but like some really good stuff that I respect and appreciate. Let's see here. Coen Brothers, man, some really great stuff. May come up again later for you. We'll see. The two for, I guess Big Lebowski and Burn After Reading on like the comedic side, Fargo as well. No Country for Old Men on the more dramatic side. Some good stuff. Paul Thomas
They have a lot
Anderson.
of movies though.
Yep, they have a lot of movies. Paul Thomas Anderson, not to be confused with Paul W.S. Anderson, who is absolutely not in this absolute
Licorice
legend
Pizza?
tier. Not what I would consider his best movie, but he did technically direct it. He did just put out One Battle After Another with Leo, which is supposed to be quite good, but I haven't seen it yet.
96% Rotten Tomatoes. It's all over the trailers.
His movies all review exceptionally well, even Licorice Pizza, which I didn't like all that much. It was a weird thing about a girl that was being a pedophile, so I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's just weird. It's just weird, man. It gives me the ick, and I think it should because it is icky. But There Will Be Blood is a fucking like that's a good movie. Phantom Thread was quite good. There's a few that I like haven't seen. I haven't seen Punch Drunk Love, Magnolia. I haven't seen.
Oh, I've seen that one. That one gives you the ick too.
Yeah,
I don't know. He seems to write a lot about that sort of stuff.
I don't know.
Because Magnolia was like, I don't know about Licorice Pizza, but that one was straight up about. Have you never seen Magnolia?
I haven't. No.
Oh wait, no. I'm thinking of American Beauty. I'm sorry.
Oh well, that one's definitely aged poorly. Sam Mendes. Yeah, that one's aged poorly in a few different ways for sure. Yeah,
that's the one I was thinking of. I've seen Magnolia as well, though. That one's a good one.
Yeah. So anyway, shout out to him. Who else we got on here? Catherine Bigelow, Point Break. More recently, talking The Hurt Locker. Talking Zero Dark 30. She's got that one coming out with like the errant nuclear missile that like comes stateside.
Yeah, military drama person.
Yeah, which we talked about recently. House of Dynamite. That one's coming out this year, which looks pretty interesting. You
know who I didn't talk about? I know who I need to talk about.
In this particular section, absolute legend, but don't fit elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who is it?
Bear with me. Let me cook. No, I guess I don't know who directed. He directed it, but Sorkin wrote it. A Few Good Men.
Oh, is it Rob Reiner?
Yeah.
Rob Reiner's got some good movies.
I was thinking somebody else directed it.
Gotcha.
But anyways, I have one I'm going to keep in my pocket for.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see if
my number five director.
Oh, it's okay. It's for your number 5. All right. I'm going to close out with a few quick mentions of Luca Guadagnino, who I think has done some pretty good work. Kind of a more recent, I think, but like since Call Me by Your Name, which was the first of his films that I saw. I thought that was fantastic. The Suspiria remake. I don't know. It's a weird movie, man. It's pretty wild. It's pretty out there. I haven't seen all of his stuff, but like Challengers last year I thought was fantastic.
Challengers was a banger of a movie. Same guy did Suspiria.
Same guy then did Call Me by Your Name. Like he's done some, different things. He also did the Daniel Craig movie Queer last year, which I didn't see, and After the Hunt.
It's supposed to be pretty good, I think.
Julia Roberts, which I don't even know if that's actually officially out yet, but I've liked what I've seen from him. I haven't seen all of his movies, and like some of the one like Suspiria, like I don't know if we'll ever watch that movie again. Maybe once in my life, just for the intrigue and curiosity of it. But it's on. I would probably go and rewatch the original Dario Argento one, before I watched the remake of it. So anyway, Luca's kind of on the. I am intrigued by what this man makes. I'm curious about it pretty much every time he makes a movie. I would also say Park Chan-wook, South Korean director.
Oh, yeah.
The Vengeance trilogy.
Those are good.
Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, and Lady Vengeance.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a good chunk of his movies. The last one that I think probably would have talked about was Decision to Leave a few years back, which was really fantastic. I think we both enjoyed that one quite a bit. And so hard for me to put him anywhere else when I haven't seen a good chunk of his movies. But man, Old Boy and really honestly, Decision to Leave, those two movies,
those are incredible freaking
were both
movies.
Very, very good. So worthy of mentions here. Similar vein, Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu.
Good choice, dude. You're pulling out all the bangers. I forgot about these people.
Fantastic director of the movies that I've seen, which is is a handful. Birdman 2014. I fucking loved Birdman. I thought that was just like
Birdman's
a super stylish, very creatively made film.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Next year
too.
He did The Revenant. Which it's not my personal favorite, but I
really
appreciate
like
the hell out of it. Like I think it's a very interesting movie, and I like Tom Hardy. Tom Hardying his way through it is good fun. But there's a lot of movies that I haven't seen that I know are very well respected and were very well reviewed that I haven't watched. So Iñárritu is a director who I'm like, I know that name. I would probably watch a new movie if he makes it, and puts one out. But there's a backlog of movies that I haven't quite, found the time for.
Damien Chazelle. He deserves to be on this list in some capacity.
Sure. Yeah.
He's got several very, very, very good movies. He's not my top 5, but damn it, he could be in the runner up for sure.
Good. Yeah.
He owns his shit for sure. He's an awesome director.
Good pick. Let's see. Have I missed anyone on my long list? I think he'll come up maybe for you at some point. Aronofsky. He's not my personal favorite, but he's made some good movies. Let's put it that way. And a very, very, very memorable director, except for maybe the one that he just did this year, where he was just like, "I want to do a paycheck movie because I've never done one before, so let me just do it." And I feel like it actually got like okay reviews. Like it's probably
sure
a talented
did. He's a
director.
capable director.
Making a paycheck movie usually means something watchable. You know what I mean? But yeah. And then finally on this list, my final entry of someone who, again, is an absolute legend, and this obviously rings true and may come up for you. I won't be surprised. But I don't know that I've seen enough of this man's movies to really, again, comfortably put him in like my really true honorable mentions, and that's Stanley Kubrick. Which is maybe kind of a borderline, should be in my list of shame, my wall of shame as well. But 2001 is a fantastic movie. The Shining is a fantastic movie. Clockwork Orange is a fantastic movie.
Full Metal Jacket. You never seen Full Metal Jacket?
I have seen Full Metal Jacket, but it's been a long time.
Doctor Strangelove.
I don't think I've seen Doctor Strangelove, to be too clear.
I own that one on Blu-ray.
Okay, well, I'll steal it from you sometime, maybe. There's a few movies in here that like I haven't seen, and I recognize every movie that he's made. Like I look at the list, like I've heard of that. Like I recognize a lot of these movies, and there's a lot of movies that I haven't seen. So it's hard for me to. I have to put them in here because I recognize the game. I just couldn't put them, here. So anyway, that's my final entry on the absolute legends subcategory here. So are we ready to move into our like true honorable mentions? People that,
yes,
this is the people that maybe if we recorded tomorrow, maybe if we recorded yesterday, I don't know, fuck it, man, they could have been number 5. They could have been number 5, or once upon a time they could have been number 5. I don't know. So I've been talking a lot. I want to hear from you now. What made your list here?
Okay, so I'm about to drop some stuff on you. Okay, so the first one, because it's relevant right now, is Stanley Kubrick. Kubrick,
right. Good transition.
Has made some absolutely incredible movies, incredibly thought-provoking, incredibly well shot, well acted. He gets every fucking drip and drop from his actors when he's working them. He is a
some
truly,
cases he sort of psychologically tortures them a little bit to get the best out of them.
I don't know anything about that, but I would not be surprised. He is for the period that the movies are made in. And I haven't seen. I think the most recent one that I watched is probably The Shining. I think I rewatched that one halfway recently. Okay. But all of them are harrowing films. They cut real deep. They make you really, really, really think. They're just, he's an incredible filmmaker. And I think that largely all his films are like they're not interpretations, but they're adaptations of written novels and stuff. 2001 Space Odyssey, The Shining, A Clockwork Orange. I even think a Full Metal Jacket is based off of a book. Doctor Strangelove, I don't know if that one is or not. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. For some reason, that one's not popping up on this Google thing. I don't know. Google kind of sucks. What's the deal here? When did Google get so kind of shitty?
The top block is just their AI bullshit, which is inaccurate half the time.
Is that what it is?
You have to scroll down half the page to actually get the real search results. It's like I don't know. There's a real enshittification of like everything that we fucking consume.
Is it gonna get better?
Garbage. Probably not. No. I mean, not until the AI takes over the world and eradicates us, probably. In which case, we don't have to worry about it anyway. So,
yeah. Anyways, homie makes some really good movies. This is another director that probably could have been an absolute legend status, as you put it. In One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is not his movie. I wonder if he wrote it or produced it or something.
I swear, yeah, I would have. If you had asked me, I would have said he was involved in some way. Maybe is it just the Jack Nicholson connection that like.
Maybe it is. Maybe that's why I'm drawn from it. I don't know. Who knows? It's my brain. It's broken. Miyazaki. Miyazaki is a director that very easily could have slipped in if I watched a movie last night. You know. I was actually talking to him to Ben today, my brother-in-law, and he watched Princess Mononoke, and he really hated the ending. I'm like, I really don't hate the ending. I don't think maybe it just didn't connect with you. I don't know, but why don't you watch The Boy of the Heron or watch Grave of the Fireflies? Which I don't know if Miyazaki directed that or not.
Yeah, that one's technically not a Miyazaki, but also. Don't recommend Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah, I would. Well, what I told him is I said, listen, if you struggle to connect with animated features, watch this, and it will make you feel a certain way. I guarantee it.
Yes, it does. It does transcend the format.
But I also recommended Boy and the Heron. If you want something a little bit more modern, Boy and the Heron is incredible movie. But you can go down the rabbit hole all the way down. All of his movies are bangers. They're so good. All the movies are so good.
I mean, we started down the rabbit hole.
Oh man, but we
started bonus
turned
episodes
it around.
And then we abandoned ship. We should go back. We got to go back at some point.
I've watched a good chunk of his movies. A good chunk. I haven't watched all of them, but I've watched a significant chunk. And I adore them all. They're very good for one reason or another. Different mood. You can watch a different movie. And there's a through line that I really appreciate. And I just, of course, it's a Studio Ghibli movie, right? So you can always tell it's a Studio Ghibli movie. He very easily could have been slotted in for the top 5, but.
Yeah, he's someone that I thought could have snuck in there. He didn't, obviously, but
he didn't.
Yeah, definitely had back of mind. I was like,
the world would be lesser of a place without his films.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree with that. I think again, the separation of why I had him where I did and where you have him is like, I do think he just has had more of a personal impact on you than he's had on me, and
he was very close. He was very close into slipping in the top 5. Another one that could have slipped in the top 5, maybe if I watched a movie or a show or something, is Jordan Peele. I really like Jordan Peele movies. Jordan Peele is a very, very capable individual. He makes thought-invoking film. They're very well produced and very well shot. I'm very excited to watch him here in a little bit. I think it comes out soon, doesn't it?
It's out.
It's out.
Jordan Peele. It is a Jordan Peele produced movie.
That's
to be clear.
Yeah. But he's produced a lot of really good movies too. I think he has Ghost House, right? Ghost House is his production company.
I think that's that. Yeah, right. I think that's something like that. Monkey Paw, one of those.
Is it Monkey Paw?
No, Ghost House. It's one of those. It's one of those fucking things. I can't remember which one.
Even all the way back to his acting side, where he was doing the comedy stuff with Key and Peele. I think that those are absolutely hilarious too. Dude's a creative tour de force, and I don't know. He just didn't find his way into my top 5, but.
Yeah, Monkey Paw is Jordan Peele. Ghost House is Sam Raimi. So 2 people, someone that's already come up, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well,
But yeah.
One person that if you would have asked me probably, again, 10, 15 years ago, if they would have been in my top 10, it would have been no question. And that's Darren Aronofsky. I think he when he's not making whatever the fuck he just made.
Caught stealing? Is that what that is?
I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm not sure. I'm not here for it though. I guarantee I'm not here for it.
It's got Matt Smith of the Mohawk Man. So
it's what it is it's a we talked about him earlier. He made all the crime movies. It's a Guy Ritchie movie made by Darren Aronofsky. And I'm not here for that. It just seems like a fucking weird.
I mean, it's interesting on one hand, but it's like that's not what we want.
I don't need to. I'm definitely not going to go to the theaters and see it. Maybe I'll stream it, but I don't know. I'm just appalled by it, to be honest with you. It just does not seem right. At the same time, with the way the world seems to be spiraling, I think of a Darren Aronofsky movie, and I just don't want to watch it.
I mean, that's why he made this movie. He's like, I'm tired of making all my fucking depressing ass shit. Here's just a fucking little caper movie or some shit.
Maybe,
because I'm not fucking, being depressed as fuck for a year making this movie on top of just the having to deal with the world and all the shit. So
when I was a moody teenager and brooding over in my room, just kind of like, and thinking about things and stuff, makes good movies. They're thought-invoking. They're dark. They're in many cases like The Wrestler. The Wrestler is one of his movies, and that one's it's just kind of like a sad fucking look on life. I never watched The Whale. I can only imagine how fucked up that one is.
I never watched that, and no.
I think he makes some really like sad, dark shit, and and Requiem for a Dream is a sad fucking movie. It's dark. Not to discredit it. I mean, it's well made, but it's just fucking dark. And Mother was, I think Mother and The Fountain, I think are two movies that kind of like transcend the darkness a little bit, and they're just kind of like, they're a little bit more poetic in the way that they're made.
Yeah. Sure.
But right now, if I'm having a list directors, he's not in the conversation just because I know every movie I'm talking about it's just gonna put me in a place I don't want to be. And I think there's a time and place for that, and I think he's a very capable director because he can put you in those places. But as my taste for things has evolved and my appreciation for certain things has evolved, Darren Aronofsky has been pushed out of my top 5. Very capable. He was there. No? He was there once before. He was there for a long time before.
We'll just have to find out who has displaced him.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about it. I'll tell you somebody else though.
Wow.
Bong Joon-ho.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Bong Joon-ho makes really, really, really good movies. They're not as dark as Darren Aronofsky, but they talk about similar. A lot of them talk about similar things, you know, not similar things, I should say. They don't really talk about similar things. But I feel like he's very much a political director, but he's not a beat you over the head political director. You know what I'm saying? Like he's talks about the social hierarchy of things and not class warfare, but you know, like classism, I should say.
Classism, yeah.
You know,
sure.
And I think that's really truly the one war we're all fighting is class warfare, to be honest with you. But it's a different conversation for a different time. Anyways, I think his movies are next level. I think Mickey 17, Parasite. I haven't seen Okja. I haven't seen that one. But Snowpiercer. Haven't seen Mother, but I've seen Host. And they're incredible movies. Incredibly well directed. Just the trajectory he's got a type, right? Like you can, if you're watching a movie and it's overly, they're very stylized, and they, at least the ones that I've seen, have generally spoken of some sort of classism in one way or the other. They're probably his movie, you know? He could have very easily slipped his way in there for one reason or another. He did not. But I think he is an incredibly capable director. I think he puts out really good stuff. And I think incredibly important things, especially given the environment that we all kind of find ourselves living in.
Sure.
Bong Joon-ho is one of my favorites. I guess that's probably the way I should say these honorable mentions. They're my favorites.
Yeah, these are one of your favorites. They're not in your top 5 favorites.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair way of putting it.
Another one. I'm going to just keep rambling, if that's okay with you.
I appreciate it. I'm not the one rambling, so I'm happy to hear it.
This gentleman has probably made... let me look up his filmography real quick. If you would ask me about this gentleman's movies, I'd probably say that individually these movies are probably my favorite movies. And I don't know
Okay.
how many, I don't know how far up you have to go on the list to find him on the list.
Okay.
But if we're talking about his movies, they're probably at least the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies that he's made is in some way my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies anyways. And I really struggle to put him on an honorable mention. He probably doesn't deserve to be here. To be fair,
is it a loose number 6, maybe
a loose number 6, and it's because I haven't seen Enemy, Prisoners, Incendies, Polytechnique, Maelstrom, or August 3rd on Earth. August 32nd on Earth. And this individual is Denis Villeneuve.
Oh, okay. All right. Didn't quite crack the top 5. I thought the Dune movies might propel him up there.
The Dune, like I said, if you were to ask me, what are your favorite movies? Well, Dune Part 1, Part 2 easily 2 of my favorite movies. And I'll be honest with you, Blade Runner 2049 cracked the list. You want to talk about a military movie? Sicario cracks the list. You want to talk about totally detached, like just sci-fi movie? Arrival cracks the list. It's in the conversation. He's in the conversation for every movie. I don't know if I need to be swapping him out with somebody else. So loose number 6 is probably the case. He's been cranking movies out since 2015 that have been consistently like in the conversation for favorite movies. So he probably needs to be further up. He probably needs to be number 5.
Okay, well, you're the one making the decisions here.
But
I'll tell you,
I did not. I'll keep my order. I'll keep the people that are in my top 5. But
okay.
But Denny is he's making shit I really like, and he's been making shit I really like for the past decade. He will probably continue to make shit I really like, and he's probably one of my favorite directors. You know, if you would have asked me the day after I watched Dune 2, I'd tell you, yeah, fucking Denis up there, guys. He's the man. But you know, I've watched some other things, and I can appreciate some other directions. You know,
Sure. Yeah.
So that is what it is. Another one that struggled to make the list. This is going to be a hot one. It's probably going to be a hot take. If Denny isn't a hot take, this one's probably a hot take. It's probably going to surprise you.
I'm a little surprised by Denny. I'm not going to
Denny.
lie.
Denny should probably be on the list. Denny should probably. I'll tell you which one Denny should be replacing. Probably. Okay. Now that, especially when I start talking and thinking about Denny should be replacing probably somebody on the list. But, Robert Eggers.
Oh, okay.
Robert Eggers hasn't made enough movies, dude. He hasn't made enough movies.
That's totally fair. I mean, I think he's got the potential, and I think that we can safely say he's not on the
very easy potential. It's a very easy potential.
He's not on the Neil Blomkamp track because he's put out a few movies that have all been good. But on one hand, like,
two,
if you've
three,
made four
four
movies or whatever, five movies, or 4 or 5, like, is it enough? Maybe not.
It's not.
I think
it's
that's
not
completely fair.
Yeah, I mean, how old is this guy? He's 42. He's going to need a paycheck.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to sell out, but I guess we probably wouldn't have said that about Aronofsky, you know, at any point in our lives. Like, yeah, maybe if we just makes a fucking Guy Ritchie movie. No, I think Eggers is a good call. Yeah, for sure. I mean, so much potential there, and a lot of realized potential so far. But yeah, I mean, is it just too soon to tell?
Incredible movies. So one thing that has pushed Aronofsky out is and the thing that's kind of like opened up the vacuum from his position in one of my favorite directors is the ability to make fantastical fucking movies. I want to be transported. I can't remember what Nicole Kidman says.
Sure. Come to this place to be in. Well, right now she's saying "fuck Keith Urban," but you know, other than that,
yeah, right. We might be seeing a new AMC ad here soon. Might be seeing some paychecks. Anyways, I want to be transported. I want to be away from the place that I'm forced to live. And Eggers, even though those places are pretty black and white and they're pretty gloomy and they're kind of shitty,
they're very
different.
They're different than the the gloomy and shitty that we live in. You know.
Mm-hmm. So, homie, so far, I don't know how long. I feel like he's been making movies for over a decade. The Vitch was 15, right?
Yeah, right. Yes, right around. Yeah.
So, a homie's developing a filmography similar to Tarantino. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel. He's not putting out a bunch of stuff, but it seems like the past couple of years, I feel like he's got a lot of stuff on deck that he's trying to put out. And so I worry
We've definitely
about
talked about him a lot. He's got like fucking 5 things lined up now, I think, Christmas
in one sense, it kind of feels like
something else too. I don't know.
It feels less Tarantino. It feels more Guillermo del Toro. Del Toro always has a tremendous amount of things.
Inevitably, half those projects will not happen and will never see the light of day, etc. Yeah, for sure.
So it feels very much like a Del Toro. And the film feels a lot more like Del Toro, So do I think he'll continue to deliver? I certainly hope so. I hope there's no paychecks in there. But only time will tell. He hasn't been doing it long enough.
Let's be clear. We want the man to get paid. We just don't want him to be doing it for the thrill of getting paid. And hopefully there's still that creative spark, right? That's right. The driving force is not the fact that you're going to pay me how much money to do that? Okay.
Yeah, I just put out schlock so I can get paid. Right. So Eggers is in there for that. And that's going to leave me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And number 5 probably should be booted for Denny. But
all right. So you're down to your top 5 total.
I'm down to top 5. I've eliminated my tabs on the Chrome.
Okay, gotcha. You're down to your top 5, which maybe one will get replaced by Denny. We'll see. Okay, I'm really curious who number 5 is. That's like borderline for you, but we'll get there. I've got a few things. If you got a few names to mention on my end, some will cross over, and I'll just give them some brief shout outs so we're not here saying the same shit twice over. For my true honorable mentions, I guess some of my favorites is kind of how you put it, and I think that's a smart way of putting it. These are legitimately some of our favorite directors that just, they're not in the top 5. I'm just going to give a shout out to a few directors, 3 directors particularly, who once upon a time might have made this list. And some have come up. But one could argue that they should be in director jail right now because they've done something wrong.
Oh no!
Not in a Roman Polanski or
they're not a Neil Gaiman.
No, they haven't been canceled. They haven't been canceled. When I say director jail, I just mean they've made some schlock that, like, all right, stop. Stop doing that. Go back to the thing you did before where you made good ones. They're like the Neil Blomkamp territory of like, man, remember when you did that one good movie? Why don't you do that again? Fucking idiot. So that's kind of so number 1, Ridley Scott. Obviously, you mentioned him already, and it was kind of basically in the same vein of just being like, Jesus Christ, dude, just fucking hang it up. Stop. And what's so funny is Ridley Scott actually has made recently good movies. But he's also made probably just as many, if not more, movies that are just absolute fucking dreck. Alien Covenant, The Counselor a few years ago, House of Gucci, Gladiator 2 was fucking shit, but like The Last Duel was good, The Martian was good. Like there's talent in there somewhere. Like obviously there's talent in there. He's made some incredible movies, the first Alien, the first Gladiator, the original Blade Runner, and others that I'm probably forgetting to mention off the top of my head. But like, man, Ridley had it for a long, long time, and just fucking retire, man. Just fucking retire, bitch. Like, I mean, no disrespect, but also simultaneously, actually, a lot of disrespect of just like, I mean, I respect that he is just continuing 80 years old, almost 90 years old. To
almost
to make
90 years old.
Fucker's 87 years old. That's crazy pants. So, like, he's still making movies of this scale, as well. I mean, say what you will about some of the schlock, like, he's still going for it. But
I'm upset. It's hard to be upset. I mean, if people were allowing me to make movies at 90 years old, yeah, I'm gonna fucking make them.
Yeah, and like, I respect it, but at the end of the day, he's making some fucking crap.
Truth be told,
oh God, Exodus, Gods and Kings, Jesus Christ, forgot about that fucking thing. He's making some fucking shit, and so yeah, he should be in director jail at this point because he can't. The things that he's making that are bad, they're really bad. It's not just a paycheck movie. It's a, you've gone for it, and oh my God, what happened? Kind of,
What are you thinking? You're senile, old man. Stop.
Pretty much senile old man is allowed to direct movies. Stop. Put him in director jail. I'll also say, I don't know if he's, technically not, like, obviously an exceptionally impressive director, but I'm going to give Kevin Smith a shout out here.
Kevin Smith's a good one, dude.
I love, some of the early Kevin Smith stuff, really all the early View Askew stuff, Clerks 1 and 2, 2 is later, but, Clerks into Chasing Amy, Dogma, even Jay and Silent Bob, the first one is like pretty fun. I think it's probably the weakest of the early side. Mallrats, of course, too. I think Clerks 2 was good. I enjoyed Clerks 3. I thought Jay and Silent Bob reboot was fine. Like, a lot of his newer stuff, none of it's really good. Some of it's like just dreadful. Like Yoga Hosers was fucking dreadful. But like Tusk was interesting and like a different thing.
That's
Cop
fun.
Out was dreadful. Zack and Miri Make a Porno was like fun and different and like a little bit outside of it. But like, I don't know, like obviously it's very dialogue driven kind of movies, but that classic era of Kevin Smith movies I really, really enjoyed. Like I have a real special fondness for those movies. So he's made too much shit that he could never be, you know, like truly in my top 5. You know, like that to me is a disqualifier. If you've made like more than one movie that is just a steaming pile of shit,
yeah, you're not there. You're no longer in the conversation.
You're not there. Like maybe it was a paycheck movie, in which case I'm not going to begrudge you, but I have to like at the same time like
we got to acknowledge you made a steaming pile of shit, right?
Yeah. And then lastly, someone who just got out of director jail, I think literally today, Shane Black. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is one of my favorite movies. The Nice Guys, I think is a fantastic movie. But he hasn't made that many movies. He hasn't directed that many movies. Iron Man 3 I thought is fine. It's not my favorite Iron Man movie. But, I mean, it's the first one, obviously. It's interesting. It's like an interesting movie, but it's not a great movie. The Predator is fucking absolute dog shit. Like embarrassing dog shit that like I think that he did put him in director jail because he literally today, the day we're recording, is the first time he's put out a movie since The Predator in 2018. It's a movie called Play Dirty, and it's like I saw a TV spot for it today watching like a baseball game, and it's got Mark Wahlberg. I'm like, oh, fuck off! Like just immediately, I'm like, go back to director jail. You go. No more. No. Stop putting Mark in things. I'm over it. So anyway. Yeah, I mean, love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and The Nice Guys, but two great movies does not get you out of, does not put you into my favorites. Even though, man, those two movies are really good. It's not enough. So I'm gonna co-sign some others and then add a few others to your list of directors where to me it's just too soon to tell. They've put out some bangers, but maybe 5 or fewer. In terms of like how many they've actually done. And it's just like, if they keep this up, there's a very high likelihood that they jump into the top 5. And I think that some of the directors in my top 5, if we had recorded this 3 or 4 years ago, probably would have been that in this camp. But they've continued to make some stuff where I'm like, all right, no, I think they've now earned their spot, by continuing to maintain the quality. So ones that have been mentioned already, Robert Eggers, totally agree. I think he's got a very consistent style, and I'd be shocked if he's ready to turn to paycheck movies anytime soon. I think he's going to continue to bring us really fucking interesting, visually distinct, stylish movies.
Certainly hope so. One of the best.
Jordan Peele, likewise, very interesting horror movies. Love to see him play with some other different genres. I mean, he's kind of bent it a little bit. Like obviously, Get Out, Nope, and Us all have very distinct feels from each other, but it's still quintessentially Jordan Peele at the same time. Cool. I think it's just a really interesting voice. Would love to see him do more. Damien Chazelle, you mentioned. I think that I've called him a goddamn wizard, and I think Whiplash, man, is a great fucking movie driven by
Whiplash is awesome.
Great performances, good use of the music. La La Land, I think, is like a really colorful, stylish, fucking, really fantastic movie that's like hard hitting, and like I don't know, like La La Land's that kind of movie that like
it's a good one.
I love that movie, but it's hard to rewatch because I know it's gonna wallop me. That's that kind of movie. I liked First Man a lot. I don't think it quite had the same level of success for me as either a Whiplash or La La Land did, but it was really, really well made. And I never watched Babylon, like weirdly enough. Like I never watched
that
the last movie. I just never watched it. Like I'm like, what am I doing? Like I loved every movie this guy's made, and then that came out and I just never watched it. So it's kind of weird. And I feel like I've heard mixed things on Babylon, but like I don't know. I'd like to watch it. Like I liked every one of his movies. So like I think that even if Babylon is a little bit of a miss, like I do think he's a very talented director, and I will continue to be excited by everything he puts out. And I think that, again, give him the benefit of 20, 30 years. If Babylon is his low point, like he's got some high points already. If he can get anywhere close to that, then like he should be in the conversation. let's see here. Matt Reeves gets a shout. The Batman, those Planet of the Apes movies that he did, Dawn and War, both fantastic. The original Cloverfield, the Let Me In, which is the Let the Right One In American remake, was like actually quite good.
That was Matt Reeves?
Yeah, he did Let Me In. So, and of course the Batman, man. I'm excited for the Batman Part 2.
Batman's good.
He's made some movies, and like he's been around a little bit longer than some of the others. I think he's made movies more infrequently. But I'm waiting. I think he has. I like a lot. I just I need more. I need more from him. So that's why he's here. Likewise, Greta Gerwig, who, by the way, I believe is the first woman we're mentioning. Or no, Catherine Bigelow. I'm sorry, Catherine Bigelow. Not to disrespect you. Second woman being mentioned, and spoilers for me. I think the last woman I'm going to be mentioning. Maybe there should be more women directing. What a concept that would be. Lady Bird and Little Women, those two are really good. She did Barbie most recently.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Barbie was really good. I think Lady Bird and Little Women are better. But to make a Barbie movie as good as that Barbie movie was obviously quite miraculous in and of itself. And it was really good, and obviously was a huge smash success and everything. But yeah, she's working on Narnia movies for Netflix now, which is very interesting, and I'm curious to see what she does with those. And then there was one on this Ryan Coogler, man. Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
I don't think has missed yet. I didn't see his first film, Fruitvale Station.
He's been making movies for a while too.
Yeah, I mean, not super long. I mean, over a decade now. Fruitvale was 2013. That was his first movie. I didn't watch it. I know it's going to be a hard watch, subject matter wise, so I just haven't done it yet. So my first exposure to Coogler was Creed, the first one. That's a great fucking movie. I mean, fantastic movie. Obviously, the Black Panther movies are quite good. The second one, I think, not as good, and obviously was a victim of horrible circumstances with Chadwick Boseman's passing. Like, what do you do in that situation? I think he did a pretty admirable job.
That's good.
And I think he would probably still be here regardless. But after Sinners this year, he has to get a mention because that movie is fucking awesome. I mean,
best movie of the year so far, I think.
It could be.
From what I've seen, I think
it's in the conversation. I don't know. I mean, I haven't really analyzed it too much. We still obviously have a few months left before we have to really fully figure out our best of 2025. But I mean,
Judas and the Black Messiah. That was awesome too. Mm-hmm. Was that him?
He produced that one. Didn't direct, but was definitely
fucking
involved.
Google piece of shit.
Yeah, it's like his name's on there somewhere. Yeah, he's produced a few things here and there too, of course. But yeah, in terms of directing, he's got a smaller resume, 5 films total so far. So
it's a Edgar situation,
right? We'll probably jump into the conversation if he keeps this up, and by all indications, he seems like he will. So that's what I have on the too soon to tell, and then now the old guard, where I'm going to shout these people out. I think they've been around a bit longer. Let's say they've probably been around longer, probably making movies since, I don't know, probably pre-2010. We'll say in some instances far before that, but I guess not all of these. I guess I'll go with my borderline pick. Alex Garland is my borderline pick of been around a while. Technically sort of directed Dredd. Apparently it wasn't credited to him, but I guess he stepped in at some point and kind of like Carl Urban has basically said, like, yeah, people don't really know this, but he directed that. That was 2010. So that's his pseudo directorial debut, but then obviously Ex Machina into Annihilation, Men, Civil War, and Warfare. I think part of why I really couldn't quite put him in my top 5 is I still haven't seen Men and I still haven't seen Warfare. So for someone that's truly, sole credit, directed 6 movies, I haven't seen a couple. It's kind of hard to do that. Devs on the TV side is obviously fantastic as well. He's a strong writer as well. I mean, I think that's a big component is his own writing, bringing that to screen. Yeah, really, really, really enjoy his stuff. Now Now, for the real true old guard, people that have definitely been around longer, I guess I'll go. I don't know if this is quite in terms of grouped in terms of age, but I'll try to get what I'm roughly estimating to be older as I go. Ryan Johnson. I think he's like 50-ish, something like that. The Knives Out movies, man, have been really good. I think prior to that, I am on the side of the fence that likes Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I don't think it's perfect. I think I have some issues with it, but I really, really like it. I think it's a really interesting,
it's well made
thing for Star Wars. I mean, it's polarizing thing certainly, but I do like it. But Looper, I really liked. There's a couple of his older movies that I haven't seen. Brick and Brothers Bloom, I haven't seen, but like
Brick is excellent.
The basically him just kind of solidifying himself as the Knives Out kind of guy. Like, man, like those movies have been so good so far. I'm excited about Wake Up Dead Man, but it's hard for me to put him in my top 5 again. Just there's a few that I haven't seen, so it's like, all right, okay. Let's see here. Bong Joon-ho, co-signed that. Haven't quite seen enough. I've seen probably half of his movies, and like Parasite is like all-time shit. And I've liked pretty much everything else that he's done. That I've seen. I have a Blu-ray of Memories of Murder, which I want to watch and haven't gotten around to yet, so I'll do that at some point. Someone who's, I think, probably advanced higher up my list, quite literally as of this year, James Gunn.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Guardians movies. Guardians of the Galaxy movies are all really good. I think Volume 2 is probably my weakest of the 3, but they're all very emotional. I don't know. He's just someone who just like he's very much a writer director and like very much making his own shit, but very creative. The type of films that he makes like are usually very emotionally charged, and very entertaining. And like Superman was just like a very earnest take on Superman, and it's so different from like the Suicide Squad, which he'd done with the DC universe a few years prior. And really, it's the superhero stuff that I think that like. In the way that I talk about the Russo brothers, I'm like, I like the Russo brothers superhero stuff, but it doesn't have a thing to it. James Gunn's got a very unique writing and directorial style, which I think is, sets it apart, from some of the other movies. And same thing with like Ryan Coogler, where it's like those Black Panther movies are very iconic, and I think that Coogler's directing style is a little bit more apparent in those than, Joss Whedon directed Avengers or Russo brothers directed Avengers movie or whatever. So yeah, based certainly on recent stuff. I think James Gunn's kind of jumped up my list. Danny Boyle. I'm going to shout out Danny Boyle.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Who's made some great fucking movies, from the original 28 Days Later. What's Slumdog Millionaire is really fucking good. Sunshine I really enjoy quite a bit. Trainspotting is a tougher watch, but quite good. 127 Hours, same thing, tough watch, but quite good. There's a lot of his movies I don't want to say a lot, but I've probably seen about half of his movies, and I haven't seen half, so it's like, all right, maybe I should clean that up and work on that a little bit more, but so it goes. Let's see, a few more. Martin McDonagh, I think.
Oh yeah, Seven Psychopaths.
Seven Psychopaths in Bruges.
Yeah, those are good. Those are real good movies.
Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh man, those are bang! I forgot about that guy.
And most recently, The Banshees of Inisherin. So I think for me,
not a lot, but
not a lot.
He's a blue cheese. He's a blue cheese kind of guy.
He's made 4 movies, and to me, he's 4 for 4. I mean, I think. I don't know, Banshees.
Oh, man.
They've all been
4 incredibly potent movies. They're so good. He's only made 4 movies?
He's only made 4. Yeah, I was like, maybe there's a bunch that like I have missed, but he's really only made the 4. I think he's also a playwright, so I think he's like written stuff that, hasn't been, turned into movies and stuff. But yeah, that's really all he has. So,
dude's really good.
Very good. Very, very, very good. I'm almost done. I assure you and our listeners, I have 1, 2, 3 more names. Alfonso Cuarón has to get mentioned here.
Alfonso Cuarón, I know that name.
He's made one of my favorite movies of all time in Children of Men. And actually, every movie that I've seen of his has been fucking fantastic. Roma was the last movie he's made.
Yeah, that was a real good one.
Since 2018, Roma was very powerful. I've only seen it the once when it came out. Gravity is a fucking stressful but very, good watch. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is, a very fucking unique film amidst that series. Y tu mamá también.
I think Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite one. I think
it. Yeah, it's a good story. It's like, I don't know. He brought a very distinct style that set it apart from the Christopher Columbus, movies prior to it, and like kind of, I think some of his directorial influence was kind of kept for the rest of that series, except they started to get way more visually drab, as David Yates took over the franchise and made like 18 movies in a row. But yeah, really good stuff. I haven't seen some of his early stuff, Solo con tu pareja and A Little Princess and Great Expectations. I haven't seen those, so I haven't seen some of the early Cuarón stuff. But and he's someone like from 2001 to now, he's made 5 movies, so it's pretty infrequent. So it's like, I don't know if he's very choosy. I don't know what he's doing at this time. He's got kids. Maybe he just likes to, do other things with his life, and that's totally fine. But when he makes a project, it's really fucking compelling. And yeah, these last 2 were tough. They just didn't quite make it into my personal top 5. Quentin Tarantino is not in my personal top 5, but he's a filmmaker that I expect you might have a few words
That's
about.
That's the hottest take. Holy shit!
You haven't mentioned him yet. But I've liked most of what he does. I find him personally to be, I don't know.
Yeah, his head's up his ass.
He's a bit up his own ass. Absolutely. And like, I get it, on one hand. But I've pretty much liked every Tarantino movie I've watched. I think Death Proof is probably the only one that I'm like, it's fine. But it is what it is. But like Inglourious Bastards is fantastic. Hollywood a few years ago was quite good. Django is good. Kill Bill's obviously. Pulp Fiction. He's made some great fucking movies, and he's a very talented, unique filmmaker who is instantly recognizable. And at the end of the day, the only reason he's not in my top 5 is just because there are 5 filmmakers that I've just enjoyed their films more, and that's just a simple fact. It's personal preference at the end of the day, and I expect you may disagree with me, and we'll get to it. But
we're gonna fucking talk about it. I promise you.
There's been radio silence from you on Mr. Tarantino, and I think that's purposeful. It's my guess. But we'll find out. Last mention for me is someone you already mentioned, Spielberg. Steven Spielberg, man. We've already mentioned some of his bangers. I think I just did like the rough math. I've seen about 2/3 of his movies, so I think I've seen enough that like I could have thrown him into the top 5 if I really wanted to. But at the end of the day, he's brought so many bangers, but also like he's kind of in that trajectory right now where I'm like, I don't really get excited when Spielberg makes a movie anymore, which is like a huge fundamental part of my childhood. But it is kind of sad. And like he's made some movies that really weren't bad. Like The Post was good. Ready Player One was better than I expected it to be, but I don't know if I would say it was good. He just doesn't excite me anymore in the same way. But I respect the hell out of him. Like even The Fabelmans I saw most recently, and it was actually pretty good. It was kind of an semi-autobiographical thing, and it was very good. But the Indiana Jones movies, Jurassic Park, Jaws, going earlier in his career, E.T., Close Encounters, like, holy fuck, dude. That sort of resume is pretty much unparalleled. So even if there are Ready Player Ones in there, or, I don't know if he's probably made some crap. There's some crap Indiana Jones movies, so I guess we could certainly say that.
You can definitely say that.
Okay, not everything's 100% amazing movie, but you can't knock what he's done. At the end of the day, when you look at the overall resume of someone like Steven Spielberg, he is an absolute legend, and I agree that he deserves that recognition. But I give him a little bit higher honor in my personal feelings, but not enough to be in the top 5. But I'll give him the honor of being my final honorable mention. I'll give him that honor.
The most honorable.
The most honorable of the honorables, indeed. And
I guess. Well, I said he was the most absolute legend, so I guess he wasn't the most. I didn't. To be fair, I didn't rank my true honorable mentions, but
I didn't either. I did it loosely on the fly. I was just being like, I'm going to close with fucking Spielberg.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Make a statement, man. Make a statement. All right, man. Well, a couple hours ish in, and holy fuck, it's time for our top 5. Are you ready to dive in?
I can dive into the top 5. Do you want me to dive in first?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can start with you. I think what I'll say, just to set the stage for our top 5. I think the way we're going to do this is we'll go 5-1, although it sounds like yours are not necessarily strictly in that order. I think we'll mention the filmography of the director, talk about kind of why you picked them, and then something that we talked about doing, ahead of time is if there was a movie of this director that you wanted to watch, if you had the time and did watch it, if you have a few minutes to say on that particularly, then obviously it might be a good representative example, perhaps, of why this director ended up in your top 5. So, with that said, number 5 for you. Who did you land on?
Number 5, in no particular order. I think that number 5 for me would have been the Coen brothers.
Oh, okay. Well,
the Coen brothers.
There's actually 2 of them. So
yeah, they're right. They're they I don't know. They're attached in one brother or another way.
It's funny because they've started making movies on their own, and I feel like they're not getting like that great a reception. So there really is like a chemistry of having the 2 together that, seems to be key to the formula of their movie making abilities.
So I recently went to Alabama, and when I got back. So you know what I'm going to watch? I want to watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I haven't watched that. I'm actually not sure that I've seen that movie. And I'm in the middle of the Odyssey now. For the book.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. That makes sense.
And so I said I'm gonna do it. This movie's I guess written and directed by the Coen brothers.
Yep.
Anyways, not my favorite Coen brothers movies. No, it's not my favorite.
Okay. But you did sit down and watch it.
I did sit down and watch it. It was entertaining. It was funny. They nail the kind of humor that I really enjoy. I really enjoy their sense of humor. I want to say that it was like shot by Roger Deakins, if I'm not mistaken. Is that a name? It's a name, right?
Yeah, it's a name. It's a very famous cinematographer, and yeah, you're correct. Roger Deakins did in fact.
It was beautifully shot.
Do the cinematography.
Very nice.
Okay.
It was well written. It was funny. It was well acted. I don't know. The loose interpretation of the Odyssey was kind of like, But anyways, the Coen brothers could have probably been slotted in with Denis. Denis could have probably taken their spot.
Okay.
Or another individual spot, which I'll talk about next. But the Coen brothers, they, at least with their written content, is very snappy. It's witty. They have a very like Buster Scruggs is probably the one that I could probably think of like immediately, like first and foremost. It's just they just have a dark humor nailed.
Okay.
Nailed.
Yeah.
Like it's their thing, and I think it's hysterical. The way that they can pull like the delivery of the humor that they write. They can pull that onto screen consistently with every movie they make. I think is incredible. Fargo is awesome. The Big Lebowski is awesome. The Simple Man, I think, is one of their movies. I have that one on A Serious Man. That's it. A Serious Man.
Why don't we go down the list? Why don't we go down the list of what they've made and
okay, yeah. So
there.
Fargo, incredible movie. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, incredible movie. Haven't seen Hail Caesar. True Grit, incredible. A Serious Man is incredible, and I think A Serious Man is a really low key movie. It's almost like The Big Lebowski, because The Big Lebowski is pretty like there's just like this fucking guy. It's just the dude, just doing this thing.
Dude, that's right. Yeah.
A Serious Man is like this guy just in the middle of his career, just and everything just kind of like falls apart. Just like low key though. It's like real low key kind of life, and just the burn after readings were absolutely fucking ridiculous. Incredible movie though. Incredible.
You might be worried about the security.
It's just so shit. It's just so fucking stupid. It's awesome though.
Yes,
no funny, Country for Old Men. Just completely it's I don't know. It's like all their movies take place real world, Mm-hmm. Like this is the world that at the same time it's absurd.
Yeah, right. They're not making they're not making superhero movies. They're not making like genre. It's not fantasy, but it is like an absurdist, surrealist in some ways, I guess, version of our world, and very heightened. Yeah, no, I think that's a.
Also, I'm scrolling through here, and in one way or another, I guess one of them wrote Bad Santa, which is hysterical.
I guess it's possible.
Anyways,
uncredited rewrites, it would appear. Yeah, but they were involved. They punched it up a little bit,
I haven't seen all their movies. Like I haven't seen Raising Arizona. I think that's probably one of their big ones. I haven't seen Hail Caesar. Okay. But what I can say is like while the movie that I watched, which was Oh Brother Where Art Thou,
mm-hmm.
That one wasn't my favorite. The vast majority of the films are very well written, and they have their own sense of style, and they pull everything out of the people that are involved with them. I think they're very capable directors. So while Denis create shit that is 110% in my lane, right? The Coen brothers, they're incredibly capable directors, and I think that they write good stuff, and I think they put it on screen really well. I think I don't know, they have a unique sense of humor. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely for me. So definitely like me some Coen brothers stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very valid, worthy pick. My number 5, these are in order. I hemmed and hawed with some of these, but I did put them in order ultimately. Someone that hasn't come up at all in this episode, so I guess you just hate this man. You just hate British people, apparently. Edgar Wright is my number 5.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about that guy. That guy's pretty good.
He's pretty good, man. He's done some good movies. So the movies that he has done, A Fistful of Fingers, which is like a Western thing that he kind of did before he really hit the mainstream. He really hit mainstream with Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, The World's End, Baby Driver, directed a documentary called The Sparks Brothers, and then most recently did a movie called Last Night in Soho. Of course, he is directing the upcoming Glenn Powell starring movie The Running Man, which
big Hollywood movie that
and
one.
Josh Brolin's in it with some eye makeup
eyeliner
as well.
Yeah,
some eyeliner. Very very important to note that. Yeah. So number 5 was the hardest thing for me. This was the hardest spot.
That's a good one.
I tinkered with an Alex Garland here. I tinkered, even Cuarón kind of, thought about it. Bong, Spielberg, pretty much everyone that I just spent a long time talking about, could have been in here. But at the end of the day, it kind of looked at, the overall resume. And the only Edgar Wright movies that I hadn't seen prior to recording were A Fistful of Fingers, which I don't think has ever been officially released, so it's kind of, it's hard to count it in there. And then The Sparks Brothers, which is a documentary about a musical act that I'm completely unfamiliar with, so it's like, all right, fair enough, gets a pass. But what I'll say about Edgar Wright is his style of filmmaking is probably extremely different than every other director I'm going to mention, like 1 through 4. And I think I almost kind of think that's why he stands out, is because it's kind of different from everything that I'm used to. Like, he is someone that uses a lot of very kinetic camera work. That camera is moving around, it's whipping around, it's zooming, and like the style of editing that he uses, there's a lot of montages, there's a lot of like music, like Baby Driver is like a very specific example where, you've got car chases that are literally edited based on the choice of music. Like, that's kind of how he made that movie, how he constructed that movie. And there's a lot of like visual sight gags and stuff like that, of just like things popping in and out of frame. Like Shaun of the Dead, there's like the points in that movie, and Shaun of the Dead is a movie, by the way, that we talked about on our I guess that was our COVID episode, right? The pandemic special one. I think we did it on that one. We definitely talked about it. And so like, there's the scene of Sean going about his day, in the beginning of the movie where, the homeless guy comes up and, here you go, here's a quarter, and then whatever, he's just buying stuff at the convenience store. And then the zombie apocalypse happens. And then he does the same sequence, and like details are changed. Like, the homeless guy comes up, but he's a zombie and he doesn't recognize that he's a zombie. But like, there's just all these little sight gags that happen where there's the symmetry from the earlier parts of the movie. And it's just so, I don't know. To me, his style of comedy is very funny to me. And I think that it's not just in the writing that it shines. Like, I think he is involved in the writing, but like, he's literally using his directing to create humor, to do something funny in the frame of the camera, which is very unique. And I don't think, most comedy is just like someone says something funny. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's something, obviously film is, that's like writing is a hugely important thing of film, but this is the 5 favorite directors, not the 5 favorite writers. And so I do think that like his style of filmmaking is something that drives every one of his movies. Top to bottom. So what I did do in preparation, I ended up with we once upon a time, I thought we were going to record last week. We had some scheduling confusion, and so we ended up with an extra week. And so I thought, well, I better take advantage of this extra time. So what I did is, for every single one of my top 5 directors, I watched 2 things.
Oh shit! Oh my god!
I watched
such an egregious use of time.
Yeah, well, I have more free time than you because, I don't have 2 kids or whatever, so it's pretty helpful in that respect.
Incredible.
I did not expect you to do that, which is, I think, a fair expectation. What I tried to do was I wanted to watch something that I'd seen before that we've never talked about, like very specifically as an episode on the podcast. And then I also wanted to watch something that I'd never seen before from the director, So for Edgar Wright, what I watched that I had never seen before, this is sort of cheating. It's not a film, actually. It's a TV show that he directed the entirety of called Spaced, which I think it came out 1999 to 2001, British sitcom. He directed the whole series. It stars Simon Pegg. It's got Nick Frost in it, and it's basically how that how that group came together pre Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. I've watched the first season of it. There are 2 seasons. I'm in the middle of season 2, and I didn't finish it as of recording this, so maybe I'll talk about it again on a future episode when I have finished it. It's very funny, and it is signature Edgar Wright through and through. It's streaming on Prime. Would definitely recommend it. It's British, it's got,
and it's 30 years ago. 30 years
British
ago, Edgar Wright.
Sensibilities. But it's very funny. There's a lot of pop culture stuff. The second season, Simon Pegg's character is very upset about the Phantom Menace, and so it comes up in pretty much every episode how upset he is about the Phantom Menace, which is very funny. Everything's just very unique. All the characters are very fun in it, and it's just, again, it's got that quintessential Edgar Wright touch to it, which it's clear that like he's got a style that he established very early on in his career and continued and has continued into everything he's done. And it looks
Scott
like it will
Pilgrim
continue
too,
with
right?
Running Man. Scott Pilgrim, absolutely. I mean, so much, even though it's not the same style of like comedy as the others, like obviously it's a very funny movie, but it's a very visual driven movie. You know, there's so much going on. A lot of the uses of the comic booky elements, or, you know, like things coming up with life bars coming up on the screen as, you know, there's a duel or something like that. Yeah, all of his movies kind of have that sort of similar synergy of very interesting visuals. And like even like something like Baby Driver and Last Night in Soho are different. They're not quite as over the top, but they have the same sort of touches, I think, in like different types of genres. Like he's definitely someone that's played around with different genres, which is really interesting. The movie that I rewatched was Hot Fuzz.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Hot Fuzz is a fucking classic. It still holds up. It's extremely funny, and just absolutely insane and ridiculous. You know, the way that things escalate and turns into a full blown kind of action movie in the third act is just wonderful. So many visual sight gags and just like fun recurring humor and stuff throughout it. Hot Fuzz is top tier stuff. I mean, I love Shaun of the Dead. I thought about revisiting The World's End because I haven't seen it since theaters.
World's End's pretty fucking funny too. That's a good one.
I am kind of tempted to go back to it, honestly, but Hot Fuzz, I just felt like I don't know. It's almost like,
I feel like I watched it recently too, within the last year.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like peak Edgar Wright, of like the most British version of him. Like Baby Driver, I think is almost like a what if Edgar Wright made a more serious movie kind of thing, which still obviously has punches of humor and stuff like that. I guess Last Night in Soho by the same extension. But yeah, I love what he's doing. I'm super, super excited to see what he does with The Running Man, and Edgar Wright for me. Very, very, he's a filmmaker that stands out, very recognizable, and I just really, really like his sensibilities. So yeah, he's my number 5, Edgar Wright. Who you got for your, I'll say number 4, but you know, fourth name, I guess, or whatever.
Alex Garland.
Oh, here he is. Okay.
Alex Garland. I've seen.
Your lips were sealed earlier, so I
started to watch Warfare in Alabama, but the baby was sleeping, and I you know I don't want to watch it on a little like on Airbnb TV. Kind of,
yeah. That's a movie to watch at home. I think
kind of
OLED,
just kind of
surround sound. Yeah,
but
no, I think that's valid.
The first, I watched the first first 10 minutes. It looked like it was really fucking good, but can't really speak of it. Either way, Alex Garland and the Coen brothers could both interchangeably possibly be switched out with Denis. Alex Garland makes some super, super thought-invoking stuff. Some of it's like Men and Annihilation is just it's really out there. I think it's incredibly well made, and I think if you can really spend the time, kind of just like sitting in it, it's almost like Darren Aronofsky, but it's not necessarily as fucking.
It's not as dark and dour, I don't think. Like obviously, I think it's like more heady than dour.
Yeah,
I don't know. If that's the right
for
way
sure.
of putting it, but
like it's almost like Alex has pushed Darren out. You know, just because I just prefer to watch an Alex movie to a Darren movie. But I think they kind of both occupy that same kind of space.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that he directed Dredd. I see it here in the Google thing, and you've talked about it. Dredd is absolutely fucking incredible. I love Dredd. Dredd is an awesome, awesome movie. One of my favorite movies, really. I really, really, really enjoy Dredd. Ex Machina, and especially like with as we continue to progress, I think it becomes more and more relevant. I think that Warfare could potentially be something like that. Civil War is currently what we're living, which is I don't know. It's kind of sad. Sunshine is an awesome movie. It's going to be one of my favorite sci-fi movies ever. And then Alex Garland, like you said, it's not a writing episode, but Alex Garland has been attached to some of my favorite movies ever.
But at the same time, he is the kind of filmmaker that like has, for the most part, been directing his own shit that he's written. You know, so
That's
it
true.
is kind of intertwined in that respect.
Yeah, his relationship to the page and the screen is it's unique, I think, for sure. He's definitely heavily involved in the stuff that he writes and the stuff that he directs. So yeah, I think Alex Garland has been he's been attached to a lot of things that I've very much enjoyed for a very, very, very long time. So Alex Garland is top 5.
Okay. What was your impression of Warfare from watching it?
I think it's going to be
TV.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I actually intend to watch it. If not this week, maybe next week. I just couldn't find the time to do it.
Yeah.
So the last one that I've watched of his movies was Civil War, and I thought Civil War was incredibly topical and potent, and continues to be. Men was an awesome movie too. I don't know if you've ever watched. You never watched Men, did you?
I haven't seen Men. Yeah, no, that and Warfare are the two that are. I haven't checked the boxes.
So I would say that
plus Devs. I mean, if you want to include TV stuff, Devs man was
it's funny. So I was really struggling to find the top. The Alex was Coen Brothers was there because I watched Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Alex Garland's the one that I added most recently, and I added him because of Devs. I went to the Watch Review Repeat website, and I was scrolling through everything we've covered, and I saw Devs. I'm like, oh, fucking Alex Garland, man. I was not in here. Devs is incredible. Men is more comparable to Annihilation. It's just super, like, there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, okay.
And the more time you spend unpacking it, the more you get, you know? It's just heady. Yeah. He makes good stuff. I'm here for Alex Garland. He's one of my favorites. So, yeah, that's number 4, I guess, technically.
Number 4. All right, my number 4, I'm going to guess is liable to come up for you somewhere, but you can talk about him separately if you feel, or he may not come up for you at all. It's a man who you're very good at saying his name. It's the one and only Guillermo del Toro is my number 4. And I almost had him higher on the list, I think, initially. But I as I will get to when I get to my number 3, I'll explain kind of why I ordered things the way I did. But Guillermo del Toro is probably of the 5 on... Probably of any of these 5 directors, I think, has the most interesting, like, consistent visual style of any of these directors.
Yeah,
to
sure.
me personally, and that's kind of his hallmark. So, just running down what he's directed: Kronos, Mimic, The Devil's Backbone, Blade 2, Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy 2: The Golden Army, Pacific Rim, Crimson Peak, The Shape of Water, Nightmare Alley, Pinocchio, and then coming up very soon, Frankenstein. I mean, he's a director who I think pretty much all of his films. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it's interesting. I think some of his films are very, very, very like fairy tale or fantasy inspired, with creatures and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Practical makeup and stuff like that. And then there's kind of the other sliver of his filmmaking that's like, I don't want to say it, like, but less that and more like fun or more kind of just like Hollywoody in a sort of way. Like, I'm thinking of like Pacific Rim. I'm thinking of something like the first Hellboy, Blade 2, where it's kind of just like more American sensibilities, and then he's got this kind of other track of things that are a lot, I think a little bit
more practical,
deeper thematically. Pacific Rim is not, I don't think it's a thematically deep film. I mean, maybe I'm missing some stuff from it, but to me, it's like, I mean, I fucking love Pacific Rim. Let me just make that clear. I think it's so much fun. I think it's an absolute joy to watch. I mean, it's a joy to watch visually, like
it's cool. It's just cool stuff.
The use of color. I think just like all of his films are like incredibly fucking beautiful. And then you have something like Pinocchio, which obviously is very different. It's got the stop motion animation style, which is so he's now ventured outside of the live action realm for that. We saw like shades of that in Hellboy 2 as well, where there were sequences that were stop motion. But I love Del Toro's just directorial style, his use of colors, his use of practical makeup, the constant kind of use of these creatures and fantastical elements is always so memorable. I think I truly, I mean, if, we talk about, I mean, some of this obviously blurs the line. This kind of bleeds into cinematography a little bit, but like cinematography is the realization of the director's intent, in a way. So the cinematographer there is someone who the director says, I want it to look like this. And they say, I got you. That's what the cinematographer does in a way, is like, I know how to make it look like that. I know that picture you have in your head, I will put that on the screen. I will capture that image for you. And so Del Toro's movies are like, every frame could be a painting. Some of his, he's got some of the most hauntingly beautiful films. And I think that, like, what I'll say to his credit, and this is something I'll say of another director as well, is like the ability to direct movies in something that's not your primary language or your first language is really fucking impressive to me. Like he's a Mexican filmmaker. He's made a few Spanish language films, and I would say that, like, of his movies, like Pan's Labyrinth is still my favorite. It's in my top 5 for anyone that listened to it, episode 100. It's still there. But across the board, I really just like his stuff. So what I did for Del Toro, the movie I had never seen, and now in watching this movie, I have now seen every Guillermo del Toro movie up to Frankenstein.
Did you watch Mimic?
Mimic was the only movie I'd never seen before.
Oh,
and it's
shit.
a movie that Del Toro has kind of notoriously written off, and basically he had a horrible time making it. It was his first experience making like a Hollywood movie. There was a shit ton of studio interference. There was some guy named Harvey Weinstein who was being a real fucking prick about the whole thing. Has anyone heard of him? Has he done anything bad? Is he still in prison? I think he might be. And so yeah, he had a shit time making it. He's actually put out a director's cut in which he's had the chance to, like, kind of give a version that he is closer to his original intent. I watched the original theatrical cut because I'd never seen it before. It's got a lot to like in it. It's not his best. I don't know if you've seen it before.
No, I've never seen it.
It's really interesting. I mean, it's about it's like a lot of bugs and stuff. I don't know. Like the visual imagery of it is kind of quintessential classic Del Toro type of things, and you can kind of see it's like an interesting exercise of watching the early filmmaking of someone who, where you've seen how they've refined their craft.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of interesting because the movie that I revisited that I had seen before, but I'd only seen it once and I didn't love it at the time, was Crimson Peak. That's what I rewatched.
Okay.
We've done an episode on The Shape of Water. We talked about Nightmare Alley. I don't think we did a full episode. Pinocchio, the same thing we talked about without doing a full episode. Pacific Rim, we would have talked about the shitty sequel and probably would have talked about the first one being infinitely better at the time. And obviously we did a huge fucking, I feel like this bears mention, we did a whole, Trilogía de Guillermo del Toro episode where we talked about Kronos, Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth together. So like we have spent some time talking about Del Toro already. Crimson Peak is one that I don't know. It like got, I think, okay-ish reviews when it came out. I think it was marketed as like a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I think that was a problem because it's not a horror movie. It's it's a romance movie, I guess, really, at the end of the day, with ghosts in it. You know, it's a gothic romance.
Yeah.
I picked it up on 4K because I had a deal, and there was a few other movies that I wanted to watch for this that I was able to get. It's a fucking stunning. It's a gorgeous movie.
It is beautiful. I remember it.
I mean, and the 4K transfer is fucking immaculate. I mean, holy shit. One of the most beautiful, like, 4K experiences I've seen personally. And just the composition of the shots. I mean, Del Toro is a master of just the visual language of film.
Yeah.
And I do like his narrative stuff. I think particularly, really the trilogy of Kronos, Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth, but all, like, Crimson Peak almost felt like an American version. Like, it felt like an American cousin of those types of movies and, like, the types of things he does in those movies. I really, really liked Crimson Peak on a rewatch. It's not a horror movie. It's got shades of horror, but at the end of the day, it's like it's just this pretty harrowing, story, a romance story at the end of the day, and it's just got that kind of Del Toro touch to it, which adds a little something special to it, that elevates it, that makes it visually stunning, but I think narratively interesting, and bolstered by some good performances with Tom Hiddleston, Mia Wasikowska, Jessica Chastain. I don't know. I really dug it. And like The Shape of Water is obviously what got him a ton of recognition Oscar-wise and stuff like that. And that's a great movie. Like Crimson Peak kind of helped The Shape of Water run. Like The Shape of Water is kind of a romance movie in itself too. It's, what if this lady wanted to fuck a fish man, kind of movie. But Crimson Peak kind of I think the making Crimson Peak kind of almost made it feel like that's how Del Toro could get to the point of making The Shape of Water, like refining the things that maybe weren't as successful with Crimson Peak and then putting that into The Shape of Water. I really do think, and I think Del Toro's a really interesting track filmography wise, where you really can see the evolution of things, where, like,
it is true. Definitely.
The Devil's Backbone obviously, I think, feeds pretty naturally a few years later into Pan's Labyrinth. But in the middle of that, he's made Blade 2, he's made Hellboy, so he's kind of got these action things. And so I think that, his technical capabilities have improved by the time of Pan's Labyrinth, that, like, he's able to do a little bit more with that. And then, like, even going back to the Hellboy, with Hellboy 2, it's almost infused with a lot more of the things you got from his Spanish language movies, where there's a lot more creatures, there's a lot more...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very different feeling movie from the first Hellboy, but it feels like kind of like he's just kind of furthering his thing. So anyway, I'll stop rambling and just say I just love looking at Del Toro movies. I mean, I think they're all quite good. I think the only reason that I put him at number 4 is I think that on the whole, I don't love every one of his movies. Like Mimic, I thought was, like, interesting, and it's, like, good enough, but it's not amazing. Blade 2 is, like, fun. It's good. It's good enough. The Hellboy movies I like a lot. I don't love them, but I do love pretty much all his Spanish language movies. I love Pacific Rim. Crimson Peak I've only seen twice. It's hard to say that I love it. And Shape of Water I think is quite good. Pinocchio I think I've only seen the once, but I think I might love that. That was so good.
That's nuts. Completely nuts, that movie.
Yeah, and I'm just fucking pumped for Frankenstein too. That feels, it's just such a, Del Toro's a director too, and I didn't say this with Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright almost made Ant-Man, which I'm still bummed that didn't happen. Del Toro is the classic example of, he's going to make the Cthulhu movie, he's going to make The Hobbit, he's going to make a bunch of shit that never came to fruition. So I'm just thankful for the movies that have come to fruition for Del Toro, and I'm thankful that The Shape of Water's success, I think, has paved the way that he has now formed this collaboration with Netflix, and they kind of just seem to be giving him a blank check. And
make whatever you want,
because,
dude.
And they there's like the Cabinet of Curiosities thing, which I don't think you necessarily directed anything, but it was basically like, here's a bunch of stories that I like, and I've picked some guys to help, and
they were really good. You never did you watch them?
I watched a few. I didn't watch all of them.
Oh man, they're good.
So anyway, fucking Guillermo del Toro, man, number 4. What's your number 3?
Number three for me will be Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan for me will be number 3.
Okay.
Christopher Nolan has changed the industry in a major, major way.
So you don't hate British people. You just hate Edgar Wright specifically is what you're saying.
Yeah, exclusively Edgar Wright, just him.
Okay, got it. Fuck.
I prefer individuals that have their head shoved way up their ass.
Firmly up there. The best directors, they cannot escape. They're so far up there.
Yes. That's kind of individuals I like. Christopher Nolan indeed has his head shoved very far up his ass, but
maybe
it may be warranted.
Maybe that shit smells pretty good. You get it. You know?
Homie makes very compelling movies. They're very well shot. They're very well realized, and they push the industry in a new direction.
Yeah, sure.
Christopher Nolan makes good shit. It's not exclusively, the unique thing about Christopher Nolan is Christopher Nolan makes movies that are artistic, thought invoking, but they put asses in seats. I think that's the most interesting thing, because a lot of people make very compelling movies, but they're on the fringe. Christopher Nolan is not on the fringe; he's on the forefront. So when he puts a movie out like Oppenheimer is a movie that you would not think that a movie like Oppenheimer would pull in the people that it pulled in, but because Christopher Nolan made it, it pulled all the asses in all the seats. And it was a cultural phenomenon because he made it, and not only did he make a movie like Oppenheimer, but he made it in IMAX, and he made it as big and loud and as incredible as possible. His filmography is just full of things that are bigger and louder and just so well realized and so well shot and well acted, and different too. Like, I mean, you take something like Inception, right? Inception is a different kind of movie. I mean, it's a wild movie, and I mean, it's written. I think that was written by his brother, right? At least in part.
Yeah, maybe in part. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Him and his brother's a very talented writer too.
Yeah, they seem to have some talented genes that were passed down.
They just put it that live way. And breathe this shit, Anyways, but Christopher Nolan makes a movie. I'm going to the movie theater. It really doesn't matter what it is.
So you're going to see the Odyssey next year?
You're definitely going to see the Odyssey. 110% going to see the Odyssey.
I just figured you were reading it for no reason. But.
Yeah, But Christopher Nolan makes a movie. I'm going to watch it. I did not rewatch a Nolan movie.
Oh, okay. If you could have picked one, was there anything you wanted to watch,
I was debating on watching The Dark Knight. Okay. I really wanted to get Sarah in on Memento. I really wanted to watch that one. Haven't watched that one in a very long while. It just didn't work out. Couldn't put it together. But or Insomnia. haven't seen Insomnia in a very long time either. But I've seen a good deal of his movies. His most recent stuff, I feel like the Batman. The most recent Batman that came out is an incredible Batman. I don't want to discredit that, but
the Nolan Batman.
Batmans
are
Batman. I feel like it's my Batman. It hit at the right time. It's fucking cool. They're awesome, incredible Batman movies. And it's cool too. Christopher Nolan's a practical effect kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's a practical filmmaker. And I think that makes a significant difference. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jimmy C pushes the boundaries of what can be done in a computer, right? And what can be made.
Yes, they're pushing the I don't know a word good anymore, but they're they're changing things in very different ways.
That's
they're
right.
advancing things in different ways.
But your practical filmmakers are real. The things that are happening on screen are real. And when something's real, it makes a difference. I really feel like it does.
Pushing the envelope? Is that a
pushing the envelope? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's what I was going for, and then I was like, pushing the what? Pushing the pile? Football?
Oh yeah, you're gonna end up like me. Just mix up your fucking
mixed metaphors. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
No.
they very different ways that they are pushing the envelope. I think that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So I mean, Christopher Nolan is an incredibly special filmmaker. I also wanted to watch the one with The Magic. What was it?
The Prestige.
The Prestige. Yeah, he's got some his older movies. Much like you can take Del Toro and you can track these sensibilities in the movies that he's making. You can kind of track how he's and it's really spectacular. His latest movies, because they're just so grand. He's a if you were to take Lawrence of Arabia, right? Mm-hmm. That was a grand movie when that movie came out. Surely it was. I would imagine it was.
Yeah, no, it was an epic.
It was an epic. Christopher Nolan he's making epics. He's an epic filmmaker, and there's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of so I would say so. Like the Coen brothers. The thing that they own is their witty, the way that they capture the witty dialogue and the way that their films are written, and just kind of like their dark comedy. I feel like they own that. I feel like I'd recognize that if I caught 10 minutes of screen time. I could probably guess it was a Coen brother movie, right? If something was like heady and abstract, I feel like I could probably capture it was an Alex Garland movie. Like those feel a particular way. Like the vibe of those movies are a particular way. When a Nolan movie is on screen, it's a grand Hollywood thing. Like it's a grand production. His movies are. They're practical. They're big. They're just I don't know. They're productions. Massive productions is what I would say his movies are. I think he's a modern day epic filmmaker, and I think he's definitely. It's definitely up there. So I guess top three would be number 3 would be Christopher Nolan.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a worthy pick. My number 3, Denis Villeneuve.
It's a good one, dude. It's a good one. It's a good one.
I know you've struggled. So I'm here to tell you why you're an idiot for not putting him in your top 5. No, I'm just kidding.
I deserve it. Lay it on me.
And I think I probably wrestled with a lot of the same things of. Okay, I mean, I haven't seen some of his early stuff, like early stuff, and it just kind of feels like, has he been around long enough to vault into the top 5? And I look back.
He has. He's been around for a fucking decade making bangers, dude. I get it.
He's been around for over a decade making
over
bangers.
A decade, yeah.
And it's like, and he's not just like fucking around in that decade, like making 2 or 3 movies. This dude's putting shit out, and like. The biggest gap was, I guess, in the past decade was between Dune Part 1 and Part 2, and the only reason that gap was as big as it was because
he's making fucking Dune.
Because he was making Dune and things got fucked up by COVID and strikes. Like Part 2 got delayed because of strikes. Part 1 got delayed because of COVID. So it's like, if it weren't for that, we'd probably have another fucking Denny movie in there. Dune Messiah would already be ready, man. I think he's a workman, man. Like he doesn't take a break. I don't know how
he's in it. He's in the shit. Yes.
But when you look at that fucking filmography, man, and so I'll say August 32nd on Earth, Maelstrom, and Polytechnique, I haven't seen those. Those were his first 3. Denis, a French-Canadian director. I think those are all French language films, if I'm not mistaken. They're Canadian films, but I think French language. And then I think 2010's Incendies is really where I think that his name got out there a little bit more. It was nominated for Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. I think he got a lot of recognition in Canada, particularly. And then he didn't really make his Hollywood debut, truly, making English language films until Prisoners in 2013.
It's supposed to be good.
Then he did Enemy, and then kind of here's the run that all too well: Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, Dune Part 2, and then obviously now he's continuing in the Dune universe. He's making Part 3 right now, which is an adaptation of Dune Messiah. I mean, I haven't seen Enemy. What I did rewatch was Prisoners. I had seen it before, but I rewatched it. What I watched for the first time was Incendies, because I did want to go back to some of his earlier things, and I knew that was kind of, as I said, kind of his big deal thing. So I'll talk about those in a second. But obviously, drawing on what we do know, Denis, I think, is also, like Del Toro, a visually driven filmmaker. I think a filmmaker that is not about exposition, that is very much about the cinematography telling the story of the movie, and kind of giving you the explanation within the shots of the movie, as opposed to, hey, let me tell you about what's going on here. Like a very atmospheric type of filmmaking. I think, really all of them. I mean, Sicario particularly, Blade Runner especially, and then obviously Dune, man. I mean, both Dune movies obviously are similar to each other in those ways. But, the wide shot, lot being packed into the frame. There's just like I don't know. And I think one of the biggest through lines, I think, at the end of the day is, like, his movies are kind of like an Aronofsky type thing, but not quite as far in this direction. They're dark. They're heavy. The subject matter is not light. And I think that they all kind of respect the audience's intelligence and expect you to just like they're not heady in an Alex Garland sort of way, but
pretentious. You could probably describe Alex Garland as pretentious a little bit. He's a little bit pretentious.
Yeah, sure. And I think in a way that if you wanted to do it that way, I wouldn't say the same thing about Denis' movies. I wouldn't say that they're pretentious. I think that they're intelligent. I think that they are going to require you to pay attention and think a little bit, but they're not going to be over your head. They're not designed to be weird and abstract and over your head and making you think about weird concepts. I mean, something like Arrival obviously gets a little bit weirder with shit like that, because that's kind of what the movie's about. But something like Blade Runner, the Dunes are a little bit more straightforward. Sicario, even, I think, are a little bit more straightforward. Hell, even Prisoners, I think, is a little bit more straightforward in its approach.
He's a subtle filmmaker. I think that describes.
He is very subtle in his filmmaking. I think he's not someone that is I don't know. I mean, all of his movies are movies that you watch and you're entranced the whole way through, and he kind of leaves you with he always leaves you with a little bit of a gut punch of some sort. Like Dune Part 1 is just the fact that it ended was the gut punch. We're like, oh, that's it. Oh, shit.
God damn it.
But Part 2 ends in a way that's like, okay, kind of holy shit, but a little bit of a gut punch. 2049 is a gut punch. Sicario is a bit of a gut punch. Arrival is a bit of a gut punch. Prisoners is definitely a fucking gut punch. And so is Incendies. Those are the two that I watched. And man, those are the two most recent movies that I watched prior to recording. I watched them last night and the night before. I'll say on the Prisoners front, I would recommend both, by the way. I would recommend both. I don't think either are easy watches. They're both harrowing in very, very different ways. Prisoners, I think you may somewhat be familiar with it, but it's Hugh Jackman plays a father and his daughter gets kidnapped, and Jake Gyllenhaal is the detective assigned to the case to figure out where she is, to find her and bring her back home. And so it's kind of simultaneously about Jake Gyllenhaal's search, on the police side of things, figuring it out, and then Hugh Jackman's character being frustrated with the lack of things and taking matters into his own hands. And so it goes pretty... It's called Prisoners for a reason, and it becomes very apparent when you watch the movie. It's got Roger Deakins as a cinematographer. It's fucking beautifully shot. And it's so intense. It's so intense, and it's very...
He does very well. He does tense very good.
Yeah, very, very, very intense sequences. Just like I said, you're just always sitting there, like kind of on the edge of your seat, like every bit. Prisoners, very much so. And Cindy's, on the other hand, is a really interesting movie. It's basically about these twins who their mother has died, and their will has basically left them like letters or messages, basically saying, "Hey, you need to go back to where I'm from and find your father and find your brother." And they think their father's dead. They didn't know they had a brother, so it's kind of, the movie kind of tells tells the stories of these twins as they kind of go back and they're trying to unravel the past, and then simultaneously it also gives you the backstory showing the mother, throughout the time, and it's kind of intertwined with, like, the mother is, growing up in like a bloody civil war in some sort of unnamed country, but it's Lebanon, basically, is kind of what it's like. That's the real life inspiration for it. And it's a harrowing movie, as you can imagine, for, something about a civil war elsewhere. And without spoiling it, since you haven't seen it, and I think anyone that hasn't seen it, I wouldn't want to spoil it. It goes places you don't necessarily expect it to go. I walked in having not been spoiled on there's a very big sort of moment that I thankfully hadn't been spoiled on. And it's a deeply fucked up movie, man. Denis makes some fucked up shit. But fucked up it again in a way that, like, man, you're going to be thinking about you think about his movies, you think about Dune, you think about Blade Runner, you think about Arrival, you think about Sicario, you think about Prisoners, you think about Incendies. I would bet that I'd probably think about Enemy and the other movies that I haven't seen, but of the ones that I have seen, they're just jaw-dropping. They're beautifully made, very purposeful. One of the things I did kind of, Denis done these Vanity Fair YouTube videos where he walks through, like, the making of, like a scene. And so I watched one where he was talking, it's the sequence where Paul puts his hand into the box.
The box,
and
yes.
He's got the gum jabbar held to him by the Reverend Mother. And so it's just like, he's got such a vision for all these things. He is of the five filmmakers, he is the newest entrant to the top five, but I think he's earned his keep. I really think he has at this point. I might not have said that pre-Dune, but now 2 Dune movies in, we've got part 3 on the way. He was just announced as doing the next James Bond movie. Like,
oh man,
I think he's just going to cement himself further and further here. And I think that he's just got that it factor. He's got that magic touch, man. So anyway,
Denis there.
I'll just leave it there.
Denis there. Yeah, Denis a good one.
All right. Winding down, you've got 2 left on your list. So, let's hear one of them. What's number 2 for you?
Number 2 for me is Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino, much like Christopher Nolan, has his head firmly cemented deep within his ass. However, Quentin Tarantino does write and direct some very, very, very good films. I watched Inglourious Bastards on my journey through my favorite directors, and Inglourious Bastards is a very well made movie. It's incredibly. I thought it was very funny. So I watched.
Was it cathartic to see the Nazis?
Yeah, it was. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say I went to Alabama, and I watched Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and we are slowly being. I feel this way, anyways. I feel like we're slowly turning to a fascist state, and so I watched.
We're trying. I don't know if we're quite there, but we're trying.
I don't know. So, yeah, we're. I don't know. We're heading that direction. Seems like at the very least. And so I watched Inglourious Bastards, which deals with the Nazis, and it was scary, because it kind of seems a little bit relevant, but at the very least, it was very. I thought it was very the humor. The humor is good. I really enjoy this dark humor that I've got to watch the past couple, past couple weeks.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
You know, and it's just, I don't know. His movies are, you instantly recognize a Tarantino movie from the character interactions. You know, the screen chemistry is there. The way it's written is there. He doesn't have, so the ones that you didn't like, the Death Proof and the Grindhouse, I never watched those.
Okay, no, that's fair. I mean, I don't think it's, I don't know. I just, it's weaker than his other stuff, I think, at a minimum. Never
watched them. But Hateful Eight, you know, Django Unchained, Inglourious Bastards, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill 1 and 2, and Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown's Brown is a under-recognized movie. That one's a good one.
Yeah, I do kind of feel like it's almost like a dark horse in his filmography that definitely goes under the radar.
It's real good. And then, of course, Pulp Fiction. He has a select few films. He's been making films for a very long time. But there's, you know, he knows what he wants to make, and then he goes out and makes them, and that is what it is. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's another one. All of them are, I think, incredibly well made. I think they're well written. I think they're snappy. I think they're very funny. There's a one-shot sequence in Inglourious Bastards, which I thought was excellent. That's another thing, too. They're incredibly well shot, you know? You don't think about a Tarantino movie and you don't think about the way it's shot, but at least with Inglourious Bastards was a beautiful film. It was very well shot. Yeah, so Tarantino for me. Tarantino's I think a pinnacle filmmaker. Very good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know I don't think this is relevant to, I don't know when we'll cover news next, but they're apparently putting out Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair, in theaters this December.
What the fuck is that? I don't need that.
It's volumes 1 and 2 put together.
How long is that?
Tarantino originally intended. I don't know. Probably at least 3 hours. Probably.
It's only 4 hours. Yeah, man. I have a fun fact. I have a Hattori Hanzo sword in the man cave here.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, he swung it around a few times.
It's going to include a never-before-seen 7.5-minute animated sequence as well, so it's actually even longer. I think it's actually... So it's cutting the cliffhanger from Volume 1 and a recap that begins Volume 2 so that it, doesn't feel like two movies literally just smashed together. But yeah, 70mm. It's getting released 70mm and 35mm, so I don't know. Relevant to your interests if you want to, find the time to watch a 4-hour movie in theaters. Anyway, all right.
Number two.
My number two is a man you've already mentioned, Mr. Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
My number two. What a fucking impressive resume Mr. Nolan has. So
that's a big one.
Following Memento, a lot of these you've already mentioned, obviously. Memento, Insomnia, Batman Begins, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, Oppenheimer, and of course The Odyssey coming out next year. Christopher Nolan is a very... He tells complex stories, I think, is probably, he tells complex stories in unique, non-traditional sorts of ways, I think, most often. I think, that like Denis movies, very intelligent movies. I mean, obviously some are a little bit more straightforward. I think the Dark Knight trilogy is a bit more straightforward. I mean, Batman Begins does have a little bit of a non-linear narrative cutting between, various parts of Bruce's life, but I think it's a little bit more straight up for the sequels. But you've got movies like The Prestige, which is a movie that is very intricately constructed, very rewarding on a rewatch. Memento, by its very narrative construction, is intended to be nonlinear and has a sort of, unreliable narrator type thing happening. And moving more recently, I mean, Oppenheimer played with a couple different things. You had the color sequences versus the black and white stuff. Tenet was obviously a movie kind of literally about, time being fucked around with. Dunkirk has, the 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour sort of structure where, different things can be seen from different perspectives, but they're playing out sort of at different parts of the timeline relative to each other. Inception's got layers, literal layers in a dream within a dream, etc. Like it's kind of up and down. Like that's kind of his signature in a way, is playing with asynchronous, nonlinear narratives, telling it in a way that, like, I don't know, like you could. I mean, I think there's maybe a way to watch Memento like in order.
Yeah, I think you released
Blu-ray or
something like
something.
that. Yeah.
But obviously, like, and I think that would be interesting to watch that, but like, you wouldn't want to do that on your first pass with Memento, because part of the beauty of that film is the way that it's constructed and edited, and the way that the story is told to you is very much part of, why it's so striking. But I think Nolan is as you said, like a very practical filmmaker, and obviously at this point now he's really pushing the envelope, to use that phrase again, in terms of IMAX technology. I mean, fully shooting something like the Odyssey entirely with IMAX cameras is quite literally unprecedented. And I'm sure will make for spectacular visuals. I mean, he's someone that obviously I think doesn't want to rely on visual effects. I mean, he'll rely on practical effects where obviously appropriate and necessary, but is someone that wants to do things as realistically, as practically as possible. And I have an immense amount of respect for that sort of approach to filmmaking that he has, of the way that he wants to tell those these stories in that way, and it makes all of his films really feel, I guess, kind of visceral and very impactful in that sort of way. And I one thing I do appreciate about Nolan is his range, I think, as well. I mean, I think he's kind of been roughly on a track of like oscillating between, like, let me do a historical thing, and then let me do a, I don't know, not even a one for me thing, but like a little bit more out there thing.
Yeah.
Let me do an Inception, let me do an Interstellar, let me do a Tenet, where,
let me call my brother and have him write me something.
10, 15 years. Yeah, let me do some little bit weirder, a little bit more out there shit, like Interstellar, man's like, there's some weird shit going on in that movie, and like, it's not one I rewatched. I thought about it, but Anna wasn't up for it. I think she finds that she's going to be too stressed out about it. But there's some really fucking momentous things in that. What I did watch, we actually, over the past few months, I have talked about this on the podcast, but we rewatched the Dark Knight trilogy just kind of independently of this episode, but it worked out well because obviously it's very relevant. We did a whole episode on it. On the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm sure I said a lot about all three of those films, and all I'll say right now is they're great fucking movies. Batman Begins is a great Batman movie. The Dark Knight's an incredible crime movie. The Dark Knight Rises is like, it's not the best. It's the worst of the three, but I think it has some really fun, interesting stuff in it.
Stuff.
But what I specifically rewatched for this episode was the movie that inspired this podcast, Dunkirk. I watched Dunkirk. Well, I didn't watch Edge of Tomorrow because that inspired that inspired the name of the podcast. But Dunkirk was really where it all started.
True.
We saw that together. We saw it in Orlando. We talked about the movie.
Balcony there. I remember it.
Kind of just stood outside talking about Dunkirk, and I hadn't seen Dunkirk since then. This is the first time I've seen that movie in
Harry Styles is in that too, right?
Harry Styles is in it. Cillian Murphy's in it. It's got Aegon from House of the Dragon in it, who I clearly didn't know who he was at the time. Barry Keoghan's in it. Kenneth Branagh. It's a good cast. Tom Hardy's one of the pilots.
Yeah, I remember that.
And man, Dunkirk is like the shortest movie that Nolan's made. It's like an hour and 46.
Oh, wow, that is pretty short.
But it's just nonstop intense war stuff, so it
doesn't play
stressful.
Like that, right?
Yeah, it plays a lot longer, and not in a bad way, but in a way that it's just like, this is so fucking stressful and intense. With I mean, one thing I enjoyed about watching it at home was the benefit of subtitles. Nolan, if there's any critique that can be made, is that his sound mixing has gotten worse over the years. I think Oppenheimer was fine. Tenet was indecipherable, I think, in the theater.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, at least at a drive-in, which is where I technically watched it for the first time, but indecipherable without subtitles. Bane, obviously, is kind of, you know. Maybe that's a Tom Hardy thing. But Dunkirk, man, great cinematography. Hoyt van Hoytema, who I think has been a regular contributor, collaborator with Nolan recently. Dunkirk's an intense fucking watch, man. But it's really, really good. I think in retrospect, it's among Nolan's best, and it's like an experience.
Definitely,
you know, like it doesn't have as much narrative. You know, like something like Inception, something like Interstellar, something like Tenet, or even Oppenheimer. They're way more plotty. You know what I mean? Like Dunkirk doesn't really have a plot other than, holy shit, these thousands upon thousands of soldiers are trapped and they need to be evacuated, and they're running out of time, and how is that going to happen? Like that's it. I mean, it's just kind of that. That's the movie, but it's such a fucking intense experience that like you're on the edge of your seat the whole time, and it's so raw and practical feeling, and that's really where he's, most of that movie is shot with IMAX. I think a good chunk, at least. I don't know about most, but I'd say more than half is shot with IMAX. And man, like you see the difference, that's one thing about, watching the Nolan movies. And I think the nice thing about the Odyssey is you won't deal with it, but like the back and forth between the IMAX shots versus the non-IMAX shots, like Dunkirk is mostly in IMAX, so it's not as noticeable, but like the Dark Knight Rises, you get it a lot more frequently where it's just kind of switching like that. And it's just like, oh man, these IMAX cameras, obviously they're very impractical and heavy, and there's a reason that people, things aren't being shot with them all the time. But you understand why Nolan is like, I want to do everything this way, because it really is a significant step up, I guess I'll say. The movie that I had not seen in Nolan's filmography is the last movie in his filmography for me to see, Insomnia. I'd never watched Insomnia.
It's a good one. Al Pacino is in that, right?
Al Pacino's in it. He's a detective going to Alaska to investigate a murder, and then he gets caught up in a little thing that happens, and then he gets he squares off against Robin Williams, man, who's playing kind of a creepy guy. It's like one of those Robin Williams performances that was outside of his usual zone of things that he was known for doing. It's really good. It's just like a pretty riveting crime drama. It's a little bit less Nolan feeling. It's obviously earlier in his career. It's post Following and Memento. It's his third film that he's ever made. He didn't write it, I don't think, at all. Like it's just fully, like he was fully not involved in the writing process. But there's moments, because it's called Insomnia, like Pacino is struggling to get sleep because, it's the land of the forever sun in Alaska. And so towards the end of the movie, he's starting to lose his mind a little bit. And then there's little flashes of editing style that feel very Nolan-esque. But on the whole, it's a very non-Nolan feeling movie, but at the same time, a very good movie. One I was very impressed with. Good performances. Gets great performances out of his actors. Obviously, likes to collaborate with a lot of the same folks. But, you curate a good set of actors. You keep going back to the well. It's not a bad thing. So anyway, Christopher Nolan, man, top to bottom. I think The Prestige is my personal favorite of his. And it's a good one. Think about rewatching it. For a long time, it was in my personal top 5 films. I think it's like my number 6, if you will. But he really hasn't missed. Like, I don't love Tenet.
Still pretty cool, though.
It's still pretty cool. It's one of those things. It's like, it's the Avatar thing of, when I think about it, I don't know if I love it, but then I watch it, I'm like, yeah, no, it's pretty fun. I get it. So it's that weird sort of plane of existence for me. So, all right, we've been here a long time, but it's time to wrap things up.
Are you ready for number one?
I'm fucking ready. Are you? I don't know. Are you ready? Do you have a number one?
Do you know who my number one is?
I think it's someone I've mentioned already, but I could be wrong.
It is definitely somebody you mentioned. It's one Guillermo del Toro.
I was gonna say, I think only you. It wouldn't be fitting if I said the name at this point. I've already said it incorrectly.
I'll tell you why Guillermo del Toro is my favorite. Other filmmakers do things well. They do things. My top four, even if you are the other four, maybe the other five, right? If you include Denis in the conversation, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If five were six, sure. Yeah.
Exactly. If five were six, Denis here too. And all of the people that I've mentioned, and all the people that you've mentioned, they do things well. Maybe they do all of it well, but one thing that, dude, Guillermo del Toro is just a filmmaker. He's a storyteller, and that's what he is. He's a storyteller.
Yeah, storyteller. That's a good way.
Yeah. Through and through, right? He has he has movies that I feel like his heart and soul are in, right? So you take your Pan's Labyrinth and your Devil's Backbone. Even if you take your Hollywood movie, I think you have your Crimson Peak or your Pacific Rim. I think those are probably his more Hollywoody movies. And of course, the Hellboys and the Blade. It's funny though. I really don't think of those when I think of Guillermo del Toro, though. For some reason, I don't know why. I never think of Hellboy. But
yeah, I mean, the second one is very del Toro. I feel like the first one is more like Blade, I guess, in that way. It's just like,
and for some reason, I don't know. I just don't think about those movies. But so it's a blind spot. But it's a blind spot for me. But so I rewatched Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And I feel like I haven't watched it in a while. I actually got to bust out the Blu-ray. I think you got that for me for like my birthday or something.
The set.
Yeah, because I was struggling. It's like I want to watch Guillermo del Toro, and I can't stream it anymore. I got to buy it. And then I got to think, I got the trifecta. Yeah, and I sold a lot of my Blu-rays during for a yard sale. But I took a handful of them. I kept them back, and that is one of the ones that I kept back, and I'm grateful for it. It was a beautiful Blu-ray. I haven't watched Blu-ray in a long time. Usually I stream everything, but lossless there's a place for lossless. All movies should be watched lossless. To be fair, we have good internet everywhere. We should have lossless everywhere. But anyways, I digress. Homie he's a storyteller. Like Pan's Labyrinth is just so rich. I don't know if Pan's Labyrinth is a legitimate fairy tale. Like, I don't know if that story is on paper in some way.
Yeah, but it definitely has that feel, if nothing else.
If it's not, he made a fairy tale. Like, he made something that should be in a children's book somewhere. It's just so incredibly rich. And you watch all of his movies. You watch, like Crimson Peak, right? That's a rich fucking movie. That's super rich. And then you watch something like Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim's just badass. That's just fucking cool.
Yeah, man. You put Pacific Rim on anytime.
It's fucking cool.
I'm just gonna watch it, man. It's just so entertaining. It's so It's beautiful, man. Like it's beautifully shot. It's
beautifully shot.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful story, man. Like, no, it's fucking robots fighting big aliens, man. Like,
but it's well thought out. Okay. It's well thought out. It's cool. The world seems, and that's one thing that's consistent is all of his worlds are they transport you to wherever he's trying to tell the story at, and it's rich, it's full, and it feels lived in. And I think he's the most practical of filmmaker, right? Everything. I mean, not everything is obviously, because I mean he didn't have giant robots, but the worlds that he creates. It's just they're all so incredibly well fleshed out, and everything feels practical, and like I said, there's my sensibilities and the things that I've enjoyed in movies and stuff has changed over the years. I feel like I've always really enjoyed Del Toro, but I especially enjoy Del Toro now. The ability to transport us into a completely different place, and that's what he does. The places that he takes us are fantastical, but the characters are still human, and they feel real. I most recently, I think I can think of Pinocchio. Pinocchio was just a riveting movie. It was just so good. But obviously it's fantastical, right? It's like stop motion. You wouldn't think that you would be able to pull those kind of emotions out in a Pinocchio movie. But man, Pinocchio's delivered in big ways.
Not to be confused with the Robert Zemeckis live action Pinocchio. Just for anyone wondering, Guillermo. I think it's still streaming on Netflix. I think
it's a Netflix exclusive.
There's a Criterion 4K which I own. So
of Pinocchio,
fully of Pinocchio. Yeah.
Wow. Pinocchio is a stellar movie. I really feel like all of his movies are stellar. They're all. I mean, obviously Blade and the Hellboys and stuff. Those feel like different things, but.
They're not bad though.
They're not bad. They're not, but they're not at the same time though. Like
they're not the same tier of I think some of his other films for sure. But
no, but if you tell me Del Toro is making a movie, I'm there. I'm there every time. And I'm there. I'm real excited to be there too.
Yeah. Well, and like as you can see with Frankenstein and like with this stuff with Netflix now, like. Del Toro is now at that point of the career to tie back to something we talked about hours ago now. He does what he wants. You know what I mean? Like he's got carte blanche to make movies the way that Guillermo del Toro wants to make movies. He's getting the money to just realize his vision. There's no, things that he has to, he doesn't have to work through the studio system to like, let me make Blade 2 because then that gets me some experience and maybe I'll have a little bit more freedom on my next movie. Like you can really see in Del Toro's filmography the trajectory of him, again, arriving at like something like The Shape of Water, which because of that success has now opened up so many doors for him to just make the shit that he's probably been really trying and, well and truly try to make for as long as he has. Like something like Pan's Labyrinth obviously is, I think, very truly authentically a Del Toro vision through and through. But something like Frankenstein, something like even Nightmare Alley, and something like I don't know. I mean, I guess Pinocchio, like just they wouldn't have given him the money to do shit like that.
No.
I think and in those earlier days, or if they did, then it would be like, well, I'm gonna hack it to bits in editing, so I can. Make sure that it's 90 minutes, like there would be some sort of fuckery happening. And we've now arrived at the point where Del Toro gets to just do his own fucking thing. And that's so cool for him, and that's so cool for us as, audience too, is just we get pure unfiltered Guillermo del Toro and they get to be made. He shines.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of, there's a lot to be said about the current state of like media consumption, the amount of things that are being made and how we consume it, like the streaming platforms and this and that. But does Del Toro movies get to be made on the scale that they're being made without the platforms that currently exist? I don't know if they do.
Probably not, because if they're worried about turning a profit at the box office. Well, Del Toro's movies historically have not made money. I mean, just truly, they're not historically that successful in terms of, you know, asses in seats selling tickets at the box office. And so it's natural for a studio to be like, well, why would I give you, you know, $50 million, $100 million to make a movie that's going to make
75, right?
You know, like that's like, if it turns a profit, we're lucky, you know. But Netflix got their own bullshit, man. Like, I don't know how they make money. They're cagey about that sort of thing, but they clearly generate enough money where they have enough, you know, sources of, you know, funding that they can
give Del Toro the keys. Make your movie, Del Toro.
They can spend stupid amounts of money on Knives Out and, you know, all its sequels, and they can throw it at Del Toro and say, "Hey, go make your own fucking Frankenstein movie, man." Like, cool, great,
yeah.
You know, go make Pinocchio. You know, a fucking stop motion animated version of Pinocchio. Like, okay, fuck it. It's awesome. It's really awesome.
Yeah,
so.
And so for like the reason that I like to go to the movie theaters, I like to be taken. Why the movie theaters is like my favorite place to be, right? It just completely takes me out of everything around me, and I'm just in that space watching this thing. Del Toro elevates it 110%, and he puts me completely away from where I am. You know what I mean? He's just it's a different experience watching a Del Toro movie. And that's probably why he's my favorite director, you know? Denis brought me a lot of play. He brought me to fucking Arrakis, and that was incredible. For a lot of different reasons and stuff, but Del Toro is magical in the way that I don't think a lot of other people are, you know? There's just a certain, I don't know how to describe a Del Toro movie. Other than magic. It's a magical experience watching a movie that is authentically 110% Del Toro. It's a very different experience, and uniquely his. He owns it through and through. So, number 1, Del Toro. Sticking to it.
All right. Well, there was one for me. Anyone that knows my favorite movie of all time will not be surprised to hear that David Fincher is my number 1. He's number 1. And
did you rewatch it? Did you rewatch The Favorite Movie?
I didn't rewatch The Favorite Movie.
Okay.
I as I said, I wanted to rewatch a movie that I had seen that we hadn't specifically covered in some capacity. So I elected to not rewatch Zodiac, which is my favorite movie, to say that if I hadn't said that just now. Because we talked about Zodiac on episode 100. I didn't want to just spend, episode 300 talking about Zodiac.
It's a pretty good movie.
But what I can tell you is Zodiac's, it's a pretty good movie. It's pretty good. It's very good. It's a very good movie. David Fincher's made some other very good movies too, though. So his directorial debut was Alien 3. Then he went on to make movies like Seven, The Game, Fight Club, Panic Room, Zodiac, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Social Network, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Gone Girl, Mank, The Killer, and he's currently making a movie written by your number 2, Quentin Tarantino, The Adventures of Cliff Booth, which is a follow-up to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
So Fincher is a really, really interesting person, a really interesting director. His background is very interesting. He didn't go to film school. I think he basically, I don't know exactly how he ended up with the job, but he basically worked himself up on like actual film sets, and that's really kind of where he learned the tools of the trade. He was hired in 1983 by ILM as an assistant cameraman and matte photographer. He worked on movies that you may recognize by the names of Return of the Jedi and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And then from that point, he made his own production company in which he started making commercials. He directed a bunch of TV commercials for big brands, Coca-Cola, Sony, and stuff like that. And more notably, he started directing a bunch of music videos. He did stuff for George Michael, for Michael Jackson, Aerosmith, Billy Idol. I think he did like 4 videos for Madonna. he directed like 50 plus music videos, and then finally he was hired as a replacement director for Alien 3, which was his directorial debut. So really interesting kind of background there. I have general thoughts on some of those films that I'll get to in a second, and I'll tell you about what I watched. But Del Toro, almost said Del Toro. David Fincher as a director is like notoriously like a perfectionist. He's someone who knows exactly, you know, the type of lens that he wants to use for a certain sort of thing. He's definitely, you know, kind of the antithesis to Nolan in some ways. Nolan is very much everything should be shot on traditional film. Fincher has very much embraced the digital, you know, thing. You know, he's shot digitally now for a long, like I think over a decade now he's been shooting digitally, and is a big fan of that, you know, use of technology. Fincher is a very like technically precise director, but he's someone that I think he basically doesn't really use a lot of like handheld cam. He's more of a fan of just like a steady cam type shot, and like very, very precise, deliberate movements of the camera for particular reasons. You know, a lot of his movies have like visual effects incorporated into them, but more in like a background invisible sort of way, where it's like green screen backgrounds that are, you know, like kind of invisible. Like you don't really think about it. It's not, you know, as something like Pacific Rim, like obviously it's CGI bringing these big robots versus big monsters to life. It's a lot more subtle than that. But he's also someone who, like, he does like 50 plus takes of every scene. You know, I'm reading that like Rooney Mara said that she did like 99 takes for one of the scenes she did in The Social Network. Gone Girl averaged 50 takes per scene. Like, he is so meticulous about everything, like every little detail, which I think drives some actors crazy. I think some actors appreciate it more. His philosophy is basically like, and I think it's kind of interesting to hear him talking about it, is basically like, you know, the first few times they do the scene, it's kind of just, you know, you're, you know, doing obviously what you remember from the page. Once you do it enough times, it's kind of like muscle memory. It's like repetition, like you kind of get it. But he says that there's certain things that's just like, you know, for a scene where, you know, you're walking in and putting your coat on you know, inside and sitting down on the couch, like by the 50th time you've done that, you've done it so many times that it actually almost feels like, well, that's what you would do if that were your house, and that's what you were actually doing. The first few times you do it,
yeah, it's good.
You know, you don't really know exactly how that would, you know, look. So that's the sort of, you know, level of detail that he strives for in his things, which again probably drives a lot of people crazy, you know, as an actor, and you know, being like, well, you actually need to be 3 centimeters to the left of where you were. So, you know, like shit like that can be pretty ridiculous, but. Yeah, he's someone that his movies are always pretty bleak, generally pretty dark. Yeah. You know, but very memorable and very stylish in their own sort of way. I think just very striking cinematography in them as well. And I think that, you know, I think early on, he's a director, I think that there's a lot that can be said about something like Alien 3. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened in the production of that movie. Like, it was a huge fucking shit show of a production. Like, basically it was filmed with half a script. He was brought in later in the process. Like, there were so many things that went wrong. And I think the fact that movie is as watchable as it is, like, it's not, I don't know if it's great. I mean, it's definitely not great. But it's interesting, if nothing else. Like, it takes a huge shit on aliens, and that's probably the worst part about it, is just like, oh, remember those characters you liked from the last movie? They're fucking dead. Fuck you. You know, like, that's the biggest thing about it. But you know, once he clearly got his opportunity to make a movie, you know, under his terms more so, like Seven is a great movie. I haven't seen The Game, I will say, and I haven't seen Panic Room. I do have the Blu-ray of The Game now, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. But Fight Club is obviously extremely memorable. But really, the run from 2007 on for me is where I'm just like, man, this dude delivers time in, time out. Zodiac, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I mean, it's a long movie. I haven't revisited that one in a little while, but it's a very interesting movie. I mean, obviously, it's kind of based on that short story, which is very interesting. But I think The Social Network is really like, I mean, I love Zodiac, but The Social Network I think is probably like one of the best Fincher movies, and it's obviously relevant to today's times of, you know, the impact of Facebook, Meta, and stuff on the world is obviously pretty notable. But you know, seeing the formation of that, Social Network was one of the movies I rewatched just to make that clear.
Oh, okay.
I ended up buying the 4K of it, and yeah, I mean, it's a great, tight Aaron Sorkin script, but the direction... It's a
pretty good combo, Aaron Sorkin and Fincher.
That is a very good combo. He's getting some great performances out of Jesse Eisenberg and Andrew Garfield. Even Justin Timberlake's in here, you know, putting in some work. Notable Cannibal Army Hammer is here putting in some work
really?
as twins. Yeah, man. Like, this movie... It's got fantastic, just like back and forth dialogue, but just very like it's making a movie about the making of Facebook as tense and as fucking like I don't know like it's just. I'm
gonna make a movie about making chicken noodle soup.
It's crazy that like the movie like you wouldn't think 2 hours of like here's how Facebook you know how the sausage was made in terms of making Facebook would be like a gripping fucking drama. Where, you know, like it's witty, but also like horrifying. And like, I don't know, like it's just got this real undercurrent that is so, I don't know, man. It's really impressive.
What's the je ne sais quoi? Is that what they say?
Yeah, sure. We can say that.
Maybe that's what they say in Denis.
See, the thing is, I think what Fincher realized is if you just get Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross to do your music, then you're going to be fucking golden. And it's a lesson that he has not forgotten because I think he's been working with them for every movie since The Social Network. So 2011 was The Girl with Dragon Tattoo, the you know, I guess a different adaptation, the American adaptation, not necessarily a remake, but a you know, adaptation, which I think was very good. I rewatched Gone Girl. I hadn't seen it since theaters.
It's a good one.
That's a really good one. Just a thriller that's, you know, back and forth, you know, what really happened, what's going on here. And it's superbly fucked up, of course. But, man, it's a dark movie that ends in a dark sort of way. And just, I don't know, again, just beautifully shot as with all of his movies. But he's another one that, interestingly enough, is kind of in the Del Toro camp now of, hey, I'm working with Netflix, and Netflix is just paying me to make the movies that I want to make, and they clearly have a good thing going. So Mank is one that I talked about a few years ago. It was like kind of about the writing of Citizen Kane, which is interesting. But the last movie that I'm going to talk about, which is something that I hadn't seen, was The Killer, which came out in 2023 on Netflix. It's Michael Fassbender, who plays an assassin who is conducting a hit and something goes wrong, and then it turns into a whole thing of, you know, how he has to deal with the fallout of fucking things up. And that was really interesting too. I mean, the first 30 minutes are like Fassbender, you know, is this cool, collected guy prepping for this kill, and then shit hits the fan, and like the next hour and a half are just like a totally different kind of movie. Very, very stylish, very, very enjoyable. Great Fassbender performance in there. And just those first 30 minutes just like pass by like that, like super interesting, super tense, just the way it's edited, very minimal kind of like, I don't know if there's any music in there other than there's like a lot of the use of the Smiths, like music by the Smiths in there. So I don't know, I'd recommend The Killer. It's on Netflix. I'd recommend any of these Fincher movies. I mean, I just think his early resume, like he's one of the few directors, I think, maybe like Nolan. I can't speak to Denis, and Del Toro is a little bit of a mixed bag. Yeah, you're right too, I guess. Like from the beginning, you see their style. You see what the type of director that they want to be. Like, there's no finding themselves. Like, obviously there's refinement, and, you know, as you get older, you get more technically more impressive and more skilled and more confident, and you understand the types of movies that you want to make and the stories you want to tell and all that. Like, I think Del Toro is like a really good example of seeing the evolution of, like, Del Toro you can see Del Toro's evolution as a filmmaker from movie to movie, where you can see that he's getting better at doing the thing that he clearly loves doing. Fincher, I kind of feel like had it, you know, and part of it I think was like, clearly he had a lot of experience doing other shit before he actually even made a movie in the first place. And like Alien 3, I think is a
misnomer, maybe.
It's still technically capable. Like, you know, you can see the seeds of how, you know, Fincher could go on and make something like Seven and Fight Club and Zodiac and so on. But like, even Alien 3, I mean, I think the fact that it's not a huge piece of shit, despite everything that happened with it, is to Fincher's credit, I would say. So, I just love the way his films look. I love the way they feel. I love he's kind of the way that he shoots movie. I saw someone describe it like you are a quiet observer. You know, you are dropped into something, and Zodiac is so emblematic of that, where it's just like you're just kind of there seeing this all. But it all has this very unique, I think, generally cool, colder sort of
definitely
color palette. I think overall, I mean, someone like Del Toro is a much more vivid, colorful filmmaking. But yeah, I don't know. They're just tight fucking movies that always, I mean, kind of like Denis movies, like they give you a little something where you're just like, okay, they sit with you. These are movies that sit with you, that offer something different, and they're all kind of unique, you know, in their own sort of way. Mank is exceptionally different from The Killer, very different from Gone Girl. I mean, I think, you know, they all have sort of similar clinical feel in some ways, but I think that they hit on very different things that, I don't know, just shows the range of Fincher within, you know, his particular style of filmmaking. So, I don't know what the fuck Fincher plus Tarantino looks like, but I'm in, you know?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy, right?
That should be pretty fun. That should be very interesting. I think it'll be very well written, and I think it will be immaculately directed, is my bold prediction based on the combination of those two. So anyway, there you have it. We've been here a long time. We talked
naturally.
About a
I think
lot
you
of
called
directors.
it before this thing. Like, we're probably going to be here a little bit. Let me make sure we know how to talk about this shit. Then here we are.
Yeah. Well, the good news is, for folks listening, we hopefully will not be recording an episode anywhere near this length, perhaps ever again, or at least for a very long time. I don't want to make promises I can't fully keep.
End of an era.
End of an era, indeed. We had to go out with a bang with a very long-winded episode talking about so many things, and again, so many directors we probably mentioned or didn't mention that we forgot to mention, didn't think to mention, etc. So we did have some crossover, as it turned out. Your order was not what I expected. Leaving Denis out of the top 5 is really disrespectful. I just don't know what the fuck you were thinking, but you know.
I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. The more I talked about it, the more I'm fucking beside myself.
I'm just kidding. Hey, man, these things change. You could feel differently tomorrow. You could feel different, you know, the 5 minutes before recording, and then 20 minutes of recording, like, oh shit, I feel differently now.
I feel like that Jim Carrey gif when he takes off his hat from Dumb and Dumber and he starts like he's acting like he's throwing up. That's me right now, leaving Denis out of the conversation. Shame on me.
Well, Dune Part 3 will make you a full believer. We'll vault him into the top 5, maybe perhaps permanently. We'll see. Yeah, really, this was fun. This was very fun. I respect all of your picks. I think that they all feel very, very you. Not super surprised overall. But it was really interesting to see your kind of thought process and hear your takes on each. So. I hope that our listeners learned a thing or two about Andrew and I's sensibilities. Maybe picked up some recommendations of some directors they should check out. Maybe some movies from those directors they should check out. A lot of the movies I watched were streaming. Some I did, as I said, mention kind of just buy the 4K for because I kind of felt like I should own them anyway. But yeah, lots of movies out there, lots of directors that I, still need to explore, more fully. David Fincher's my number one. And I still have 2 movies that I haven't watched, so I should probably do that. Feels like should probably do the completionist side of things. But yeah. Do you have any other final thoughts? You ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, let's close it down, man.
All right. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We are on Patreon at patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat. You can get early access to all of our regular episodes, timed exclusive access to any bonus episodes. We'll still do one before the end of the year. We're running out of time, but we'll do something at the end before the end of the year, and I'm not sure what. Websites, watchreviewrepeat.com. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat. We're on Blue Sky at watchreviewrepeat.bsky.social. We're on Instagram at watchreviewrepeat. Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Next episode, this is the end of an era. We're going to kick off a new era of Watch Review Repeat with episode 301. I don't know what we're covering. Alien Earth is wrapped up. I don't know if Andrew's been keeping up with it.
I have. Got 1 episode left, I think.
I'm a little behind, but I had enough free time to watch 10 fucking things for this episode. I could probably watch a few episodes of a TV show. Tron Ares is a week or 2 away from recording, I think, coming out. So it's another option if we wanted to jump straight to that. Either way, we'll be back, and you'll be hearing a little different flavor of Watch Review Repeat in the future. But I think we have some good things in store for our listeners, and I hope that 300, as big and long and maybe too long as it was, I hope that it's a nice celebration of this end of this first era of Watch Review Repeat for everyone. So yeah, a little golf clap, and I'll let Andrew take everyone out.
Everybody take care now. Bye then.
Laters on the Menche.